Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany
and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows
like Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, and more.
This episode of our podcast is going to be discussing this episode of One Tree Hill, which if you're listening, you probably know what it's about, but just in case, we will be discussing gun violence, school shootings, and suicide, just to give you the warning. So.
Hi, everyone. It's Brittany.
And I'm Cynthia. And we have our guest with us, Jaycee.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not the best episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm happy to have you back, but...
I'm glad to be here. It's, a heavier topic this time, but I think it will be good to bring some awareness.
It's one to discuss, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, so this episode is titled, episode 17 of season 3, Who Will Survive and What Will Be Left of Them?
Season 3, episode 16.
Yeah, I just said it out of order.
Who will survive? That's kind of sad that they call it that.
Yeah. So it aired on March 1st, 2006. And
the synopsis is?
A dangerous day at Tree Hill High gives Nathan and Lucas a common goal as they put their lives on the line to save their friends when a student comes to school with a gun. So, this was WB that this was on. So they did give like a little warning, but it was very vague. Chad read it out loud, just saying that please stay tuned for important resource information following the conclusion of tonight's episode. Parental discretion is advice. So this, was the original card in real time. So yeah, they should have gave. Well, I mean, it seemed like they weren't allowed to. More in detail.
Probably not.
So. Which I get, but they should have, at least they can today,
I couldn't imagine, watching it if you were a person that did experience something along those lines and the feelings it might bring up.
Right.
And then, I gotta say, because it's relevant to the topic, Brittany, the Girls and Drama Queen discussed how they grew up with one school shooting that happened in 99. It was Columbine.
Columbine, oh my gosh. That one, I think, was the one that really shook the country, probably, maybe even the world. That, I feel like, was the most famous, infamous school shooting to have occurred, while we were growing up. And that's something that was always really talked about when we were younger. It was talked about, but it was also, kind of hush-hush.
Yeah, I don't remember ever hearing about it.
I knew the name Columbine.
Yeah, I remember the word.
But I didn't know
the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the extent of what I knew Columbine was bad.
Yeah, because we were about.
But I didn't know the extent.
Yeah, we were about 5 and 6 years old when it happened.
Yeah.
So.
That I feel like
what year was Columbine?
99.
Yeah, we were quite young. But I remember growing up, we always had to do the lockdown procedures, the drills.
And no one took it seriously. They didn't.
Oh my God, it drove me nuts.
Yeah, kids were laughing and being loud.
Or they were screaming the lights went off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, because they were scared just to mess around.
Yeah, and it's that's so not funny because what if we were in a real life situation where somebody is in our school trying to harm us?
Yeah, they were
and us, you're over here making a joke?
Mm-hmm. Did anybody I know this may sound rude, but did anybody sit there out of the three of us and go, I really hope it's you then? Because you're the one being loud and I don't want my life in danger because you're an idiot.
I mean,
if anyone's got to go, it's going to have to be you because you're an idiot. You're the one letting them know we're here.
I remember thinking, wow, this is messed up. We're going to be the ones that are going to get hurt because we did have a lot of people in our classes that
they weren't the best.
They didn't take anything serious.
Nothing.
Yeah, and then with our high school too, they didn't have the solid walls or glass windows, so they were covered, so we couldn't see, but still, the bullet can go through the glass easily. You don't have to see.
Absolutely.
So.
Oh, it's scary.
So this episode, I don't know if you remember, but I did cut out my story.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've talked about it on our podcast. But for this one, when we were talking about Dawson's Creek or something, I cut it out because I don't want to out our school. But now that we're here, when everyone is kind of walking in and out of the doors,
Oh, mhm.
It took me back to our high school
Mm-hmm.
and how everyone could just walk in and out.
Come and go as they please.
And they didn't know who's coming and going.
No.
Like,
And sure, they kept the side doors locked, but
you
we
go through the
weren't
front door.
supposed to open them for anybody, but everybody did.
We went out the side
Yeah.
doors for lunch and everything.
Yeah. There wasn't much security to stop anything like that from happening.
No.
And I kind of like nowadays, schools don't just let you walk right in.
No.
You got to go check in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, like, so when we're in high school, senior year, you know, there was a creepy guy in the school, and I really did think we were going to be the next school shooting. And
You said you were alone in the hallway, right?
yep, because everybody was still in class. I got back from Delta, and just waiting for my ride, and I ended up walking down our hallway because I don't want to be alone with this guy. Like, if he's gonna shoot, I don't want to be that close.
Right.
I don't want him to have that easy access. So I walked down to our lockers, and then I was watching them. I opened up my locker, but I was, watching
It's
them.
not like we had a big school, so
we couldn't go anywhere to hide.
And you knew who belonged and who didn't belong.
But when they're acting weird, they don't belong
Right.
like that.
And it's not a face you ever seen before.
No, and he was older. He didn't have a book bag. He didn't, it was just strange. And so I'm like, and I didn't want to like sit there and like observe him too much because I didn't want him to know like I'm watching.
I'm sure you were probably scared.
Yeah. And so I just kept an eye on him, but I also needed to go home. And so, I went back up front, trying to look for my ride, 'cause I was trying to get the hell out of there just because, I always wanted to go, but this was just scaring the hell out of me.
Eerie.
Yeah. And I was also in my head. My parents, every talk we ever had was going through my head because they taught me what to do and what, like, if you're in the situation, what do you, like, they kind of prepared me. So I was always like, okay, be on the lookout, be on the watch. Like, watch. Because have you ever noticed on school shootings, they don't really watch the person.
No.
And so I was very, like, because I needed to know where he was going next. And so eventually our assistant principal came out and asked him, "Sir, what are you doing?" And his response was, "I'm here to get a drink." After a long time.
Who comes into a school for a drink?
Right.
And then who
That's
takes
weird.
Who takes that long and then finally gets a drink after an adult has asked you why you're in there? Like, once they approach you, then you're going to get a drink? Why didn't you get a drink beforehand?
If that's truly why you were there, that's what you would have been doing.
Yeah, and then you would have left. So then, of course, she wasn't leaving. So then he had to leave.
Yeah.
And so, but what was strange was she never once asked me what happened.
Oh, wow.
She never once said, "Are you okay?" Nothing.
Maybe it was just she didn't know he was out there in the first place. So when she walked on that moment, that's when she noticed.
That could be.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like that. But I would expect the schools now to care about this.
Oh, yeah, they would, yeah.
But Cynthia, you know who our assistant was. She could care less about me.
Yeah.
Like, about a lot of students. Now, if it was our principal at that time, she would have asked, "Are you okay?" Like, she was so sweet. But our assistant principal
was not very nice.
was like, run away from. So, I hate to be mean, but that's what it was. I was scared to death of our assistant principal.
Yeah.
I was terrified of her. And so, but I loved our principal. So if it was our principal, she would have asked any student, "Are you okay?
Oh,
What
I believe
happened?
that. Yeah.
Do you need to come in my office and take it?" Like, she would have done everything. So I'm just saying the tones are a little different. So when she just wandered on back, I was like, okay, I'm fine. Just so you know.
It's crazy. Like, nowadays, no one can just wander in like that.
I'm happy.
I'm glad they can't.
Yeah, because like, and the thing is, like, why? Because I know that kids, like, the front door was open because kids were going back and forth from like work and school. But why couldn't they have like a little badge or something to let, like, the key thing to like let them in?
Key card
To let them in.
That could have been easily
Done.
established.
Because then at the end of the day, because then you can always at like the end of the day shut all their the fobs off.
Yeah, you can have it. It's only active during this time to this time.
Right. And then obviously once the end of the school year is, you got to return it or you got to pay for it because they always like trying to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, just something like that, where it's still safe. We can lock the door. It's still safe. Also, because we always had somebody monitoring us during lunch.
Yeah.
They could have had somebody at the front monitoring the door.
Yeah, we
so
always
people
had an
could come and go.
officer in the lunchroom.
So we could always have somebody come in. That was the beauty and the safest thing, I feel like, for us three, was that we went to a school that the cops would be there in a second. First of all, they were always
so close.
First of all, at least one of them was at either the elementary, middle school, high school at any point.
They were always around.
Yeah. And they were all, so because do you guys remember being in school? I don't know what grade it was. I don't know if it's junior year, I think it was junior year. We got, I don't think it was a bomb threat because we would have had the bomb squad there.
It was some sort of threat.
It was some sort of threat. Maybe it was gun. But we had a
I
threat.
vaguely remember.
We had a threat. It made the news because I remember my grandpa's sister came with him to pick me up. And I was like, what are you doing? This woman has never come to pick me up. And yet she's in the car with my grandma. And I was like, what are you doing? And she goes, well, like the news is here. And I'm like, what? Are you on something?
I must have not been there that day because I don't recall this at all.
Oh, well, it happened. And I remember we were in lockdown. Nobody could go to the bathroom because it was serious, because it was a true threat.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So I remember I was in a certain teacher that you don't like's classroom. And I remember we were because we were all kind of calm about it because we didn't know the true extent of it at the time. They were keeping it, this is a lockdown. And they were being vague to us.
They don't want anyone to panic.
Right. So we were all just kind of like chilling.
But at the same time, students need to know it's serious.
They needed to get prepared. What are we going to do? What's the game plan, teacher?
I heard some teachers, I mean, I get it, but some teachers or schools are taking phones away from kids during class hours.
Ooh.
Because if there's an endangerment, I'm going to call my mom.
Yeah. What if you only have that one chance to give them
to say bye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say bye.
I can understand cell phones are a distraction, but
because they are, but
yeah.
But when it comes
it's
down
a lifeline.
And plus, any one of them then could call 911 too if you can't, the teacher. So
and just like Haley was trying to do, keep them on the phone so they can listen to everything that's going on.
Yes.
Because they're going to need all the evidence they can get on this person. And they're going to need to know what's going on in the side. Yeah. So you always want somebody. Always want somebody inside to help you. But that is true that our school's so dang strict. No cell phones, no this, no that. It's like, but it is true, like an emergency, our parents will never hear us say the last words because
we weren't allowed to have our communication.
Right. But I brought up Columbine originally too because Sophia had said that they ended up, an extra on this episode ended up being a student there at the time.
No way.
Yeah, but instead of leaving, she actually gave them information like what they should and shouldn't do.
So
I couldn't do that.
Did this person,
they don't know her name, they
went through, they were at Columbine when this happened.
Yeah. And
they were an extra in the episode.
Yeah, years later. Yeah.
Well, I wonder how that had to feel for.
That's what I mean. I couldn't do it. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Mm-mm. Yeah, because she didn't know what the episode was about until filming, so.
Oh.
So it was completely off guard for her, but yeah, she still stayed and
wow.
told them, from her experience, how they should handle this.
I can't even imagine what she felt like.
Mm-hmm, right.
She's brave for going through that.
Yeah.
Well, because, I think the close one to us is Oxford, because it's in Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And for them, like, hearing the parents talk about their daughter called them.
Yes.
I'm like, so going back to not having cell phones, it's like they were able, I know they were in between classes, but still, we weren't allowed to take our phone into the class. People sneaked them in, but, I kept mine in my locker. So I couldn't, if there was a shooter, my phone was in my locker. Unless I was near my locker, I couldn't
Yeah.
I couldn't run back
wouldn't
to
be
my
able to get a hold
locker
of
to tell my
anyone.
mom I love you. I might be gone. Like so to hear these parents say they're happy that they had these last messages of their kids, I'm like, my parents would not have that because our school is so effing strict.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but they were.
Yeah.
Because like Oxford, their parents are grateful for that. Do you really think their parents would be able to, I mean, yes, can they sleep at night? No. They'll never be able to have that again.
No.
But at the same time, there's a little piece of comfort knowing their child, they had the last, even if it was a fear, like their kid was scared to death and you could hear it in their kid, they still got to hear their kid. Like,
And the kid got to
say
have
bye.
the comfort in speaking with their parent.
Or leaving a message
Yeah.
saying I love you. Like the 911 or 911 911.
Oh my gosh, that was so
Those the people that were in the plane,
Yeah.
they
calling and saying
called,
their goodbyes.
and some of them were to the answer machine. But what was great about that was that the loved ones could keep that forever. And it's like, and honestly, when you debate that, would you rather talk to that person or would you rather have that voicemail? I'd rather the voicemail, I think, because you can always hear their voice saying I love you like again
That's
and
a
again.
tough one.
Like I would replay it so
But
many times.
getting to actually talk to them too
And they hear your voice.
would be huge to comfort them in their last moment.
Right. So
I do see what you're saying though. I would. Can I have both, please?
No, you only get
we still
one.
can't pull up today, so
Yeah.
unless like it was like a back and forth voice memo thing, but that would still be on
Right.
Wednesday.
I feel like nowadays would be like a text, and then obviously your loved one would keep that text.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just
With the cell phone situation, maybe I don't know. There could be like a rule. This might not work, but
this ought to be good.
your cell phone, there's a bin that all the cell phones stay in, but in the classroom, but you can get access to it quick if needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that can maybe be compromised.
Yeah.
But
You won't be able to get it. Maybe.
what if your classroom's the one that has the shooter?
And it's not right on you.
And they don't have
Yeah.
a second.
So the rest of, and I'm not gonna lie, when I was in school, I was always, I don't know if you guys ever thought this, but I was always afraid to be by the door.
Oh.
Because
They always sat by the door.
no, I mean the door to this building. Like if your classroom was near,
Closest.
because if they're gonna come in and shoot, they're gonna go to the nearest ones first.
Right.
They're not gonna go way down. Like they might, but more than likely they're
They're
gonna
going
want
to the
them to
nearest
go to the nearest
classroom.
ones before they get caught. So I was always afraid to have those classrooms. It was always a fear of mine.
That's not something I thought of at the time, but then again, I don't think I was as aware of the risk of these school shootings and how frequent they were happening.
Well, I didn't know how frequent they were, but
They weren't back then.
but
when we were in school.
I think my dad taught me a lot because he was in the military.
Right.
So he wanted to keep me safe. So he would talk to my brother and I a
Smart
lot.
man.
I mean, he still does that about going out in public. What do you do in this situation? What, like, where's the exit? Where, like, he makes you aware that you have to be aware.
You do have to be aware of your surroundings for real, especially like there's so much human trafficking and all that out there. You constantly have to be on your toes looking.
And you have to watch people.
I don't go nowhere alone these days. I mean, very few places, but hardly anywhere.
Do you know what the new thing they're doing?
What's that?
They're now like putting something on your door handle. So when you go and try to open your door, it's now on your hand.
Oh my gosh.
You don't see it. You're just reaching
Yeah.
for your door. And it's obviously going to make you dizzy.
Like a drug, yeah. Soaks into your skin.
So what they said to do was to use, like if you go to like Target, use that receipt to open your door handle because then it's on that. And then you can get in your car and lock your door. Because, then you're
That's
safe.
crazy.
So that's the new thing that they're saying. And
I'm glad you brought that out to light because I didn't know.
yeah, so be aware. Because I hate when people say, don't go at night. Scary stuff
Sometimes you
happens.
have to go
No,
at
but
night,
scary
though.
stuff happens during the day.
Absolutely.
So what are you talking about?
People get taken in broad daylight all the time.
There was a movie of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so crazy. So that's the new thing. So make sure you use anything else but your hand.
That's good to know. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Oh my
So if you have like a pair of gloves, maybe use that. Anything besides that you can truly, take off right away that will not touch you. Use
that drug stuff scares me, like fentanyl. It's like people put it in so many different
Well,
things.
because the other thing is, they leave things on your car.
The window, and you gotta get out.
Yeah, and by that point, they already took you.
Yep.
And no, that's why they said just keep driving with it. Like drive to the police station with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, and that's why it's so scary. That's why I am happy they did this episode, because when we think of teen drama shows, none of them did this.
Nothing that's serious, no.
None of them did a school shooting episode.
But that is real life, so I'm glad they did it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Are there any that do it now?
Well, I know Glee did it, and then 13 Reasons Why almost did it, but then they changed their mind and didn't go through with it. They did imply it, though.
They teased it like it might happen.
Well, this is why the actor that was on the show said, don't do what my character did, because he basically stopped the guy and took the gun from him. So, but yeah, so they were implying that he was going to do it, but then he was stopped. So
Yeah.
that's as far as I know. There might be more. I just don't know, or can't think of right now. So,
Well, and Chad at one of the conventions said that he brought up the school shooting episode,
They did
and
American Horror Story.
he said that everyone was not on board, like the cast.
there's a couple movies too, sir.
They said no.
Yeah, that's what the girls said too. Yeah, they didn't want it to.
Well, yeah, Chad said this though.
Yeah.
He said that they were not on board, and the creator was like, "Trust me, just let's do it." And Chad said when they got done, they were all very proud that they did it.
Well, I think it had to be done in such a way. They were scared.
Because Chad said that they were worried it was going to be cheesy.
Yeah.
That's what they were worried about, was that they were going to basically kind of...
They didn't want to make a mockery.
Make fun of a school shooting. So Chad said that, and I was happy that we were getting his perspective on it. Because a lot of the conventions, they don't talk about the school shooting. This is one of the episodes they don't bring up.
Right.
Like, they don't ask the actors, what were you thinking? What was your point of view at the time? Like, they should. Because those are a serious episode. They always want to talk about, like, the lighthearted, fun ones.
Yeah, this is real life.
A serious
stuff.
one.
This happens. This is a tragedy that people deal with too often in our country.
And see, I feel like the reason why it keeps happening is because all the schools say it's never going to be us until it is.
Well, and also authorities don't like to take action until it's too late.
Yeah.
Because I watched this movie, and it was like a secretary being like the hero. I don't know what it was called. And I, being a secretary, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Because then I got myself thinking of like, okay, as a secretary, what do you do? And so I was going through every option when, transitions were happening in the district.
Mm-hmm.
I was like very vocal. This needs to be done. This needs to be done. And a lot of them were like, Brittany, you're going too far. And I'm like, but I'm not.
Not for
First
safety
of all, where we live.
Children.
First of all, where we live.
It's not always safe.
I'm trying to look out for these children. One day, you would thank me. I mean, seriously. What?
I don't think you can ever go too far for the protection of kids.
No. And so that's why when they were like, it's not in the budget, I'm like, well, you better make it in the budget.
Not in the budget. Excuse me.
So, because I took it far. I said bulletproof windows. They didn't like that.
I like that. That's a good idea.
They didn't like it. They didn't like my idea. They said, it's not in the budget. I said, oh, but a 5-story building is.
Wow.
That you're never going to use.
Bulletproof windows would have been a good idea.
Yeah, because I said, listen, I'm trying to protect us so that I can call 911.
Yes.
Really?
How are you going to call 911 if they come in and shoot you? Because there's no protection.
Yeah. They came up with other ideas, and I was like,
I'm curious what these other ideas were.
I'm not gonna say it. I'll say it off
Okay.
because I don't want them to be a target.
Okay.
It's for their safety.
Yes.
Because I think they may have used this, and I don't want to say it.
Absolutely understand that.
But yeah, they didn't like my idea. Listen to that shit.
I think it was a darn good idea.
Well, they asked me for my opinion. I gave my opinion.
Yeah.
Don't ask if you don't want it.
I like these new door lock things they got out now for teachers. It reinforces their doors.
It does.
Yeah, it's some contraption. I've seen them on TikTok, Facebook. They go around the handle somehow and they like screw it into place. Anyway, it's a quick reinforcement for the door, so the door can't be like kicked in as easily by an intruder.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I think every single school needs those in all their classrooms.
I just feel like there's got to be way more safety for the schools than what there is. And have you ever noticed when it comes to I hate to say it, when it comes to school shootings, you always hear something went wrong that they should have stopped, and it could have probably been.
And there needs to be more.
Like when it came to Oxford, why did the counselor let him out of his sight to use the bathroom?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but at that point, he did not deserve to use the bathroom. Think about it. We were in school, Cynthia.
Right.
Didn't our teacher say, you can't use the bathroom?
Right.
You got to wait till your 50 minutes
till
are
the
up.
bell rings.
Yeah. So if we had to hold it, somebody who was doing wrong should have had to hold it too. Until the cops got there.
Yeah, didn't I read that they were actually going to let him go back to class too? I forgot somebody. I don't know if it was his parents or the school that didn't.
His mom, she wouldn't come get him.
Yeah, it was like something made him not leave and stay instead. I forgot.
Mom said she wasn't coming to get him.
Yeah, like
Come and get your kid.
Yeah, so someone thought it was okay for him to stay there.
Because it always, not always, but a lot of the times it's a student bringing in the weapon. Why aren't, okay, there needs to be some sort of procedure where the kids are not necessarily searched, but metal detector every single day.
Yeah.
I don't care if it takes longer.
Well, I think too, okay, I will give our school credit. Can't believe I'm giving our school credit. The one thing they did right was our book bags had to be in our lockers.
Yeah, we couldn't be carrying those.
Yeah.
Which
is good, because where else are you going to keep a weapon on your body?
Because for Oxford, it was in his book bag. So why did he need his book bag to go to the bathroom? Like, he's not a female who needs to get
feminine product.
Right. So why does he need to take his book bag to the bathroom is beyond me. So that was my first thing, was like, what?
Yeah, didn't you say, why did the counselor let him take it?
First of all, why did the counselor not escort him to the bathroom? Why did the counselor not check his book bag? Why did his counselor not stop him from taking his book bag to the...
Yeah, there was no need for a book bag.
Because think about it. You would think if you would have picked up his book bag, you would have felt what's in there. And then you would have been like...
There's some weight to it.
Stop. Absolutely not. And so, because they're shaped differently than books.
Yeah.
So if you accidentally picked it...
He had a lot of stuff in there.
I will say, there are a lot of guns that are quite small. That you would never.
But wasn't his bigger?
Yeah, I think it was.
I don't know what kind of gun it was.
I thought he had the bigger one, though.
Well, then, you would probably definitely notice.
Yeah.
I've seen guns.
Well, yeah,
that big.
But I don't think his was that little.
Well, that's not going to do much damage.
So. He shot a lot of people, so.
Oh, so it was probably, was it an automatic weapon?
I don't know.
Automatic rifle, probably.
So, yeah, like, when it came to that... like case, it was like that should have been stopped from the start. Like, if he has to use the bathroom, have the freaking police take him.
Yeah.
How long did this police take? That's what I want to know. I've always wanted to know this. Because again, it went too far. He got too much control. And that's what happened. So to me, they're all to blame.
He had a 9mm pistol.
Okay, 9mm is really easy to conceal.
How big is it?
9mm, only like this.
But the one thing I did like about the Michigan case here is that they did take the parents into accountability.
Yeah.
For the first time, I think, in history.
Yeah.
A lot more parents should have been held accountable in other situations like this.
Well, because like Sandy Hook, he was an adult.
Yeah, he had been dating a teacher there.
Okay, that's what it was. I thought a mom
Wait,
was a teacher,
Say that again.
but he was dating a
I
teacher.
remember I read that first he killed his mom, then he went to school to kill the girlfriend that was a teacher.
Okay, so that's how I heard about it.
That was his connection there.
But then he killed all the little kids.
Yeah. So he was just
Excuse me.
Yeah.
F is wrong with them.
Yeah, that's why this episode is completely different from what is actually reality.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like this case, he didn't kill anyone.
Right.
And
it was just an accident with Peyton.
Yeah, he didn't mean to. He would never have done it.
Yeah.
Like if he knew that, I mean, he was freaking out. Did I kill someone?
Yeah, in his face, you could see he was scared.
Yeah. So that's the thing is like it was not planned at all. And so like, but all these other ones, it is planned.
Yep.
And that's the thing is like, that's the problem. All these high ups always say, like for the administration, never going to happen to us.
That's what everybody says, though.
Until it is.
Yeah.
Or, it's only in the big cities. It can happen to a small town.
Literally anywhere. Anywhere. There's crazy. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say crazy people because I'm kind of a crazy people person. But
mental health.
There's people with mental health issues everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not confined to one place.
I think in the Sandy Hook one, he was. Like, he needed help. Clearly. And, you know, then that was the thing, is like Sandy Hook happened the year we graduated.
Yes.
And my situation happened that same year. So when Sandy Hook came up, I was like, oh.
Scary.
Yeah, like it hit close to home. And that's why I'm like, thank God it wasn't us. But at the same time, school was still not smart at protecting us.
And then you also got shootings happening at places like churches and concerts now. And
everywhere.
The movie theater, you have to be so mindful anywhere you're at now.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary. But then again, there's people that say, well, get rid of guns. People are going to get guns no matter what.
They always say, which I don't agree with, they always say guns kill people. In a way they do, but people with guns kill. Like, because people are the ones that have to pull the trigger. The gun does not pull the trigger.
No.
There is no gun that'll sit there and just shoot.
No.
Somebody has to load it, and somebody has to pull the trigger.
Exactly.
And that person is responsible, not the gun.
Yeah.
They're the ones. I do think that the background checks need to be better.
Mm-hmm. Some don't even have that.
I know.
Like for online purchases.
You can straight up buy every piece to make a gun.
Yeah. So it's so much. There's more access to it than it was when this episode aired.
Yeah.
Well, and now, you know, they're not really doing background checks like mental health. Because again, somebody can just take a gun and all of a sudden
have a mental health evaluation to own a gun like that.
But again, I always believe that any criminal, that's what it is, that kill people that are criminals. Anyone that wants to kill somebody, they're going to find a way.
Absolutely, whether
it's
they have the right to go buy a gun or not.
But it could be a knife. It could be anything. Like they could do anything. So the fact that we're only going to blame guns it's
not right.
It's not, because you take it away from the people that can protect themselves.
Right.
What are the people that actually steal guns and stuff and all these like drug?
The good law-abiding citizens, now they can't have a gun to protect their home.
Right. But yet all the bad people are going to get guns and shoot the rest of us.
Yeah, because they're going to get them whether they're legal or not.
Right. Or they're going to make them or somehow. Yeah. It's like, that's smart. That's what I never agreed with. I was like, you're going to take away people's guns that actually have them registered and they go through the right protocol.
Exactly.
How are you going to find the ones that aren't registered?
You can't, because there's no proof of them.
Exactly. But it's all the bad people that have
You
them.
know, exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm sorry, but I would rather protect myself.
Yep.
And so I don't agree with that statement.
No.
Yeah. So whenever they would say that, I'm like, but it's not true.
No.
It's not at all. And oh my God, you guys, when Dan held the gun up, all I could think about was Alec Baldwin's situation.
Oh, in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
I
God.
was like, what if Paul had like, oh my God, it was taking me back to Alec Baldwin.
What? Somebody actually died from that. Right?
Yes, because he thought there was no bullets.
Yeah.
So when he pulled the trigger, it shot her and killed her because he thought that there was no bullets. And people blamed him, but obviously the set people are the ones.
Yeah,
that...
I watched some documentary about that. It's been a while since I watch a lot of documentaries. But it's more so the people that were in charge of those
Guns.
weapons,
Yeah.
those props.
Mm-hmm.
Who put a bullet in it? It wasn't Alec.
No. But they're saying that he held it, so he should have checked it. He was trusting.
The professional was
doing it.
Yeah.
He was trusting the people that handle the guns.
And it wasn't a real gun either. It was props.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that it would do damage.
He thought there was nothing in
I
it.
feel bad for him in that situation.
Me too.
Because
he went there to do his job. He didn't go
with a lot
there.
of guilt.
Well, he went there to do his job.
Yeah.
He didn't go, I'm gonna do something today. No, he went there to do his job to get paid. That's the only thing he was doing.
Crazy freak accident. Well, it wasn't an accident though. Did somebody set him up?
Yeah. So when I saw Dan, I was like,
thinking of that.
Yeah, because
now I think ever since that happened, I feel like these shows, movies should be a little more vigilant on the safety.
Oh, I also had to think about them taking away guns. Does that mean we would have no more movies and TV shows that involve guns? Like police shows and investigations and all these, like if there's like a Tom Cruise movie that has like a gun, it's like I mean, are we no longer gonna have action movies? And
I feel like that'd be too much censorship.
Well,
like
how
South
come
Korea
they can?
or
How
is
come
it North Korea? Which one is it? That's super.
I don't know, but then how come they could fake use a gun, but then nobody else can have a real gun? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to take it away from us, but not the TV shows?
I don't think it'll ever actually come to it, even though obviously it's talked about.
I think people would hide their guns.
Oh, absolutely. Most Americans I know aren't going to give up their guns that easy. No way.
That's why I'm like, you really think you're going to get fined every single person with a gun and take them away?
Because they're going to start having unregistered guns.
Exactly. And then they're going to hide those.
Yep.
So you're never going to... And again, somebody that wants to murder somebody is going to murder someone.
Absolutely.
Whether they do it with a gun or not. They can use their hands and do it. You hear that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, and for Dan, it was just so goddamn easy.
Would.
But yeah, when I saw that scene... that's all I thought of. I mean, because I've seen this before.
Yeah.
So for me, I obviously knew about that
rewatching
happened.
it, you've seen more details.
But then I was thinking, because this was way before the Alec Baldwin.
Yes.
So how careful were they with him holding the gun?
It makes you wonder about...
Because now you should be more aware than back then.
Are there other accidents that have happened
that we don't know about?
Like fatal?
Yeah, like did somebody accidentally get like their arm shot at or something?
I don't know. That's kind of scary.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about this, I would not want to be an actor and have someone shoot at me. I'd be like, I'm going to check that for you.
Yeah, let me check it
before
first.
You pull that trigger.
Shoot that at the ground a couple times and we'll talk.
We'll talk. We'll start acting then.
Yeah.
Would you check it, Cynthia?
Mm-hmm.
See, I would check it no matter who had said they checked it. I would still check it.
Yeah. I can't be too careful.
But I know that Alec, actors do their acting and that's it. They don't do the extra steps of like.
Well, I mean, who thinks
that they're supposed to?
Oh, this is a prop gun. Who thinks that it's gonna go off like that?
Yeah, and how come? I don't think that person that put the bullet in ever got arrested, or did they? Because I feel like Alec got like the most.
Now that we're talking about it, I kind of want to look into it more because I'm not sure what the outcome ever was.
Yeah, me either. I just know that Alec was like the big one that got, and I'm like, he was the actor.
Yeah.
Calm down. Okay, so.
But it was his movie. Like, he was producing it. Something along those lines, or directing. Something. He was acting, but it was also like his movie.
But you rely on different departments to do their job.
He had hired people.
So if the props don't do their job, that falls on them. Then it also falls on the actors. Even though it wasn't their fault.
To, like, falling on the parents of these school shooters.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the staff that
I have a question.
Let him go to the bathroom with his backpack.
So I have a question. Do you think Jimmy's mom is responsible for the school or for Jimmy's actions in this?
That's what I put in my notes at some point, though. We never found out how he even got the gun to begin with, so...
Maybe it was his dad's or something.
Well, he said that his dad left, so I don't think he would leave the gun behind if he did.
No.
So that's why I don't know. They should have... Maybe it was a deleted scene, too. We never know. Like,
it's not where he got it from. Because if it was his mom's gun, yes, she should be in trouble. Mm-hmm. Because it should have been locked up where he couldn't get it.
Because we never even see her reaction to find that Jimmy was the one behind this.
All we see is her reaction to him dying. They came out to say, we need to talk to you. And
that was it. They never showed her again after that.
So. But yeah, so it will say if it was her gun, absolutely, she should be in trouble. Mm-hmm. Because why did your kid have access to your gun?
Right.
I feel bad for Jimmy, though. Mm-hmm. Because
he was an outcast.
No, he has Keith's death on him now, and he died.
Yeah, everybody thinks that he did it.
Thinks that he did it.
What?
Because no one knew Dan was in the pool.
And they were the only ones in the hallway was Keith and Jimmy. Mm-hmm. And Dan wandered away and left the two of them.
I didn't realize everyone thought Jimmy did it.
Yes, that's why Lucas wouldn't attend his funeral afterwards, because he was mad that Jimmy killed Keith.
If he really thought that, why didn't Jimmy get in trouble?
He was dead.
They were going after him?
Maybe we should get into the episode of Rajok, Jaycee's mind.
Yeah, because I'll be straight up, guys. I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah, so watch the next one too, because it's like another part to this, the aftermath.
It's a 3-part.
Yeah.
The last one was the time show, or time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one. Yeah.
And then I am going to say what he sent his tape to, again, Rajok, Jaycee's mind. This is like a repeat from last time.
Yeah, she probably doesn't know what he said.
No.
Yeah, so basically he's talking about everybody, but calling everybody out. If you ever listen to the episode when it comes out too, we talk about that.
Okay.
There are some things that he was right to say.
Yes.
One of them Cynthia loved that he said.
It was good. I'm just saying because like he back to back caught two individuals, but like one was rightly said, the other one wasn't. So but yeah, he's just like trying to make people look more worse than they were.
Yeah.
Her, but yeah, so we start off with Jimmy's tape again playing. He says, what it's like in my high school, and then it fades out, and then we see Jimmy, smoking a cigarette outside of school. And then he's actually narrating, too, for this episode, which is very fitting.
Oh.
But in his tape, he said, the truth is there's not a single person...
He's narrating?
What did I say?
He narrated the episode?
He didn't narrate the episode.
I thought he said, like, one line, or was it part of his tape?
No, this was just all of his tape.
Oh, I thought maybe it was, like, one line, and then his tape continued.
No, they just played his tape, and then went into the episode.
Okay. I just thought, like, it was a narration of when he was standing there with a cigarette, maybe, like, his inner thoughts. But, anyways, his tape said that, there's not a single person in this place worth remembering. People here are fake, so they stick to their cliques to hide it. The stoners are medicated, the honor students are afraid, and the jocks. They'll peak at 17, and their cheerleading girlfriends will be fat and lonely by 21. He calls them losers. Everyone here is a loser, and the truth is, every day he has to come to the school is one less day he has to come back.
I feel like that's kind of an accurate depiction of
Life.
high school life.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think? When you're young and, dumb?
Especially if you're not the popular.
If you're not Nathan,
one.
Lucas, any of them.
If you're not in the sports and stuff.
Yeah, because people in sports are always popular ones.
Yep.
And this, okay. So remember when we had this discussion, Jaycee?
Yes.
At our 10-year,
Yeah.
some people were not happy that we said there were cliques. Then there were cliques,
Because
and there was
they were the ones in the cliques.
So you went outside, and Jaycee and I were going back and forth with a couple of people, and somebody was not happy that we said that there were popular and not, and there were cliques. And this person said, no, there wasn't. And then somebody else jumped in and said, yeah, there was. And I was like, what? You agree? I couldn't believe she agreed.
Yeah.
But also, that's why she agreed. She saw what we saw.
Yes. If it's who I'm thinking, it's because she was trying on both sides.
She has my initials.
It's not who I was thinking.
Oh. That's the one that we were talking to. Me, you, and... No. We know you were...
I still can't figure it out.
So anyway, we were talking to... So she agreed with us.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I feel like she had friends in multiple groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, she did say that she didn't feel like the popular one.
Like in the middle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like she wasn't the popular one.
The
popular one, but she did hang with some of the popular ones.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like Haley, maybe, or like you're not the popular like Brooke and Peyton, but you're hanging on them.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're like mouth or skills kind of thing of like you're friends with them
Mm-hmm.
and they're the popular ones.
Yes.
That kind of thing. That's how I would.
So she's seen it.
Yes. But I do agree with
Even at the reunion, some of them are sitting in their clay.
typically.
Yeah.
Everybody sat with who they sat with in high school.
Straight up. Straight up.
And that was that. This 10 years later. Grow up. This is the problem. Everybody was 28 at least?
We got together, but we talked to we socialized with other people.
I was done with people, so I was watching somebody's kid because I was too busy.
Yeah.
I was done with people.
I don't blame you.
I like the kid better than I like the people.
Yeah, so then...
Well, okay, that's the thing. Is like, have you ever heard people say, I'm never going to my reunion because I don't care
I've heard
to
that a
see
lot.
people again?
I've heard that.
This is basically what Jimmy's saying. Like,
because they
I'm done.
didn't treat me good then. Why?
Why am I giving you a day to hang out with you? For what? To catch up? So it's the same. It's basically what he's saying here. Like, you're not worth remembering because, because again, you're moving on.
It's kind of sad it's that way, though. It is sad it's that way.
It is, but it's true.
Real life.
But also, when you have those cliques, that's what happens. People feel like Jimmy.
Well, because then you get those groups that gang up on
And beat you
the
up.
little guy.
Yeah, that's one thing, like the movies back in the 2000s at least covered.
Everybody always got beat up.
Yes.
Like Mean Girls, for example.
Oh, yeah. That one had a lot of good clips.
And then High School Musical, like the whole song, stick to the status quo.
Yes.
So just, like, it's, like, when we were kids, it seemed like an exaggeration, but when we got into high school, we could easily see it.
Yeah.
I think when we were in middle school, we were better at being friends with everyone.
But once high school came, that's when... Well, it had started to form in middle school.
It did, but I feel like
it wasn't as bad.
You could still somewhat be around everyone. even if you wanted to or not.
But once they got into this high school sports,
Yep. Because then you had power.
you were cool or not cool.
It just seemed like people were more judgmental.
Yeah.
Like, I was in choir for every grade in middle school and high school. And the second we got into at least closer to high school, we started losing our boys. And by the time we got into high school, they were all gone because they didn't want to be called gay just because they're in choir.
Wow.
That's sad.
That was their reasoning.
It's harsh.
Mhm.
But kids do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So even if it was something they really loved,
Yeah.
they got like bullied into quitting.
Yeah, they don't want to be made fun of. Because, like, I thought it was something, but, like, I was like, every single boy is starting to quit. Why is that?
Well, I wasn't in choir, so I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How was it in band?
Band was different. We had a mix of all sorts of people.
Did the boys feel like they were getting bullied at any point, or by like football players or basketball or baseball? Because they're the.
We did have.
You don't think? Wait. You don't think we had baseball?
Well, not in high school, right?
No, we did.
Oh, I didn't.
Well, not that I ever went to it. But we had softball and baseball.
I stopped at middle school. Or after middle school.
Well, there was baseball.
It just wasn't huge.
I think my crush was playing.
I think so.
My nephews played, but I just can't remember if they were that old.
So,
I don't know. I can't remember.
did you see?
Yeah.
Can we go there with our high school crushes for a second?
We can go there.
I think it's like this episode.
Oh my gosh.
In the fact that I really didn't see them being friends.
Because our high school crushes are friends?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Mine was more in the popular.
Mine was like the
What the hell was he?
he was like a skater looking.
But no one I know him.
Yeah, that's how he portrayed himself in high school.
Yes.
He wear the skinny jeans and the kind of shoes with them, like the skater shoes and the element hoodie. I don't know, like stuff from Paxson and that type of clothes.
Well, mine's wearing like Nikes.
Yeah. They were very opposite.
Yeah.
Very opposite.
What?
It's strange.
Oh my god. Cynthia, you already know who mine is.
Mm-hmm.
This picture.
She knows who mine is.
The person who she.
Remember when we were looking at Snapchat a while back?
Yes,
Yeah.
I know too.
Okay, so think of those two.
Mm-hmm. I mean, kind of, but not really.
So opposites attract.
Yeah. Wow. You know what's funny is we're similar, you and me. They're opposite.
They're very opposite.
Oh my god. You must be more like yours. Well, I feel like I'm the opposite of mine. Like, thinking of it, it's like to picture these two in high school. You wouldn't pick them as friends.
No, they were in different crowds.
Yeah.
But now they're friends.
But now they're friends.
Yeah. I feel like once you get outside of high school, there's not so much pressure to like a certain. I mean, I'm having a hard time saying this.
Be a certain way.
Yeah, there's not so much pressure to be a certain way, and you can be more open to different types of people and not have the judgment
And interests.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I think too, because like if you go to college, you're going to meet all new people.
Yep.
Once you get a job, you're around all new people from all different.
Move somewhere.
Yeah, and some move away, and so that's the thing is like I've been with older coworkers, I have been with younger coworkers, and like everyone is different, and people you might think you're going to get along with, you don't.
Yep.
And it's like, but then you think like, oh, we'd be friends in high school, but then sometimes you're like, no, you wouldn't.
You know what? And I've met people. Okay, I'll give this example. Jenny,
Mm-hmm.
me and her are so close. if we would have met in high school, I don't know if we would have been friends. Because she was into sports. And she, I guess she came off as like a bitch to people. But it was because she was quiet and reserved. I feel like if
So like me?
Yeah, I was saying me too.
I feel like if
Wait. Jaycee, I cannot believe you said yeah to me.
you're quiet.
Just
You
not
don't-
to you.
Yeah, no, not to me, but to other people, you're quiet. But yeah, Jenny, she was into the sports, and she did have. I don't know if she was in the popular crowd, but we both came from different crowds of people. To where if we met in high school, we may not have been friends.
Right.
But now that we're both grown and we can look at each other's differences and love that about each other, it's so great. But in high school,
Well,
people pick on each other for their
and in high
differences.
school, like Cynthia brought up, judgment. You two may have judged each other without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Like, without even truly knowing each other, you're going to
Mhm.
judge each other. Like, I'm not going to lie. At work, they were like, Brittany, if we knew each other in high school, we probably would have beat you up. Yeah. Flat out said that to me. So I'm like, that is, but again, now that we're adults, it's like we can get along.
Yeah.
Back then, apparently, they'd beat me up. So, it's like that thing of like,
Wow.
just because you just got to move on and mature. And the thing is, like, for Jimmy, he's not aware of that.
No.
Because when you're in high school,
It feels like you're never gonna break out of that loneliness cycle he was in.
well, because
the outcast.
well, and you think too, like the friends you have, that's going to be your core for the rest of your life, and it changes.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah,
we I broke away for a long time. I did. I regret that, but I'm glad I'm back with y'all now.
That's true.
Yeah.
maybe.
So, like, I don't know. It's just looking back, you can see you have a different perspective on things than when in the moment.
Yeah,
being young.
you tried to be cool.
Oh,
We were left in the dark. So,
I didn't try to be cool.
oh, you just were.
No, I'm just.
Okay. She gave us shoulder action and everything.
Just
cool.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I was very quiet for a long time, and then I reinvented myself per se.
So, like, it's hard because it's like we could have been Jimmy.
Yeah.
In the way of his feelings.
Yeah.
Me and
His
Cynthia.
friends.
But like at the end of the day, we had each other still.
Yeah.
We didn't leave each other. And we met like other people.
Mm-hmm.
But if it would have been like all of a sudden your whole friendship is gone, like all your friends, what
I can't imagine
like
how
that was
feel.
Jimmy. Jimmy lost them all.
That had been traumatic for him.
He didn't just lose Lucas. He lost them all. They all left him. So it was like, that's the thing is at least we had each other. Like when you left, it was only one person leaving.
Not
It wasn't
everybody.
everyone. And that's what got us through. And then, we met others. But, think if you had just lost all your friends. And then you had to go to school. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That did happen to me, but I met you two.
Yeah.
I was in 5th grade. It happened. My 2 friends, we no longer we were done. And I then had to eat alone. And that's when I sat with you guys and I was quiet and stuff. And then I don't even know how we started talking.
We were all in the same class, but I really don't know.
We were, but I was friends with other people. But then I just started sitting down and eating. And then I was eating with you guys. And just
that was
somehow...
like our routine.
Just somehow we became friends through that. And, but I had to push myself that, well, you're just going to sit here and eat and push through, get to the end of the day. I had to tell myself that because it was hard to lose people who were in my life all the time to no longer being in my life.
Yeah.
But then I met you guys and I'm like, wait a minute, I feel much better with you two than I do with them. So it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
But for Jimmy, he doesn't understand that he's a senior. In a couple months.
It probably felt like the end of the world at the time.
Yeah, because it does. Like, your friendships are over. You feel alone. You feel you're never going to have friends
It's
again.
like a breakup.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Like, you're not, I'm not going to lie. My friend, who we've had on the podcast,
Yes.
she, like, when we were no longer friends,
Yeah.
I thought I would never have that connection with anyone else. I thought that. Because we were inseparable. Then all of a sudden I get to work and I meet this girl and all of a sudden we become inseparable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
It's like, it does
I
feel like the end of the world
because
at the moment.
Well, and I think too, because you look around school and you think that's going to be your life.
Right.
It's like these people, this is all I get to look at. These are all the people.
The world is so much bigger, has so much more to offer than this little school.
Yeah, because
these
like
few people.
Because I'm looking around and I'm like, well, I'm not going to be friends with any of these people. I'm never going to have that connection with anyone else. But then I get out in the real world and I'm like, wait a minute. There's another girl that loves me for me. And I love her for her. And we get to be best friends and inseparable. And it has, and you know, it's just like, oh my God, because I thought, I went through depression after that friendship because we were inseparable. We were together every day.
Right.
How do you go every day and talk every day and then to nothing? So it's hard. So I went through a depression, but then it's like, once I met her, I'm like, wait a minute, this is what, like, I could move on. But the problem is Jimmy doesn't feel like he can move on. He doesn't feel like he's going to get that new best friend like mouth again. But the thing is, like,
it does feel super defeating in the moment.
Yeah.
And like, when you're young like that,
that's what your mind does. Yeah.
You don't think too much in the future. It's more like right now, this is what's happening. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. But for like the kids out there, just please push through every day.
Yeah, no, it does get better. It does.
It does. Like, I know it's easier said than done. But if you have to eat alone, eat alone. Because one day you will meet friends that love you for you. And they're
gonna love all those quirks.
Right. And then you're gonna love them and you guys are gonna be friends and you just have to get through the hard time, which is right now. And it's like, that's what you would love to tell Jimmy. Just like these next few months, just get through it because it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Because when Mouth is talking about going to MIT, Jimmy would love it there. Jimmy would soar. And I mean, he would have all kinds of friends. And that's why it's just
like a lot of like-minded people.
Oh my God.
Except then we find out that he said that he got rejected from it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he could find a school like that though.
Oh, yeah.
Like one rejection.
So that was he rejected from it before or after he died?
Before, because he told everybody.
So, okay. So that took a big toll probably on his decision making.
And also too, so he lost all of his friends.
Yep.
And then his dad
left.
Well, his dad left, and then his dad came to pick him up one day, and he was getting beat up by kids.
Yeah.
And his dad realized he was, in Jimmy's words, like a loser. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, my kid is a loser. And then
what
I think
does Dad do?
Leave.
He left him?
Yeah, that's why, like I said, I want to get in the episode because it reveals all that. But
he like
multiple things got piled up on Jimmy.
Oh my gosh! So Jimmy probably did feel like he had no other option.
I feel like he was okay until a time capsule was released.
Well, and that was the thing, was like the time capsule, all the stuff he was saying, he thought you were going to hear in 50 years.
Yeah, he didn't, he was getting it off his chest and that. Yeah. I don't think he wanted anyone to truly hear it.
Mm-hmm. But also when they did hear it in 50 years, he'd be old. Like, he wouldn't care
so much.
And maybe he'd be like out of the state, so they wouldn't even know who Jimmy is. Like, you're so far away from that world that who's going to know who you are at that point. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and also they were told to be honest and vulnerable in the time capsule. So that's what he did. So if he happened to say crap about people,
I mean, and if that's how he felt, I mean, nobody can tell anyone how
Different.
to feel.
Yeah.
You feel how you feel. That's.
If people are bullying you, then you have the right to say it.
Yeah, that's why I wish they kind of revealed who, at least maybe in this episode or the next, of who released it.
Oh, they don't?
No, they never directly say. There were hints that made it seem like Rachel did it, but like I said, it was never truly confirmed.
So what hard time went? So did his dad leave within the year?
It had to be.
Because he was friends with Lucas and stuff
Yeah.
a year ago. So if he had gotten beat up 2 years ago, that would make sense because Lucas, he wouldn't be the AKA loser that he thinks he is,
Right.
because he had these friends that
Popular
loved
friends.
him. That loved him.
Yeah.
Well, Lucas wasn't popular, but
Oh,
they
not
stayed.
that. That's right.
But they stayed away from the rest. Like they had their little
Yeah.
group, their little clique, and that was enough. And so when did his dad see him get beat up? Because obviously Lucas would have done
Oh, absolutely.
or Skills. Like one of them would have done something if
Yeah.
they saw their
I
friend
love
Jimmy.
Skills.
If they saw Jimmy getting beat up, they would have done
They
something.
would jump in and help them.
So that's why I'm trying to figure out when, because Jimmy was always around them, around one of them.
Did
so
somebody catch him off guard? Wait for the friends not to be around? Maybe.
maybe, but I feel like he would have told them maybe, and then they,
Unless he was embarrassed and didn't want to say anything.
So I'm just, because again, you wouldn't mess with that person knowing who their friends are. So you wait for somebody to like not have friends and then you go after them because they're an easy target. Like Jimmy became one. So that must have been within the last year. Because otherwise it doesn't make sense because who his friends were. I mean, I know they weren't popular, but they were still important to him.
Yeah.
Where people wouldn't have touched him.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Jimmy says it's time and walks into the school. And so I guess that was like his way of planning, because obviously, he walked into school with the gun, but he didn't plan what was going to happen after that. But this was his breaking point either way, because when he walks into the hall where his locker is, he sees Russ, the guy that was beating him up in the last episode, his friends.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, it was like him and two other guys. They basically somehow got into Jimmy's locker and took all of his belongings out and was kicking it, like stomping on the floor and just taking everything out like that,
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Jerk.
Yeah, so, and then when Russ walked by him, he like shoved him, on purpose in the shoulder, like he didn't hear him, and, calling him a loser. And then, Jimmy says that they broke into it, and that's when Jimmy takes off his book bag, dropping down to the floor, taking the gun out of it was in his hoodie pocket.
Oh,
By the way, it wasn't in his book bag.
Yeah,
and
boots.
Toward Russ and his friends. But just then, Brooke and Peyton come from around the corner, facing
By the glass.
And that's how Peyton got shot.
Yeah,
That's how she got you.
because I think he wouldn't have because I feel like he wouldn't have the bullet wouldn't have ricocheted because basically Peyton and Brooke's faces gave away Russ and his friends because they're in the opposite direction. So when they saw the girl's face, that's when they actually thought,
Turn around.
Yeah. So if they didn't turn around, I think that's when Jimmy actually would have got a clean shot and would have shot Russ or one of his friends. But instead, he kind of went to the right and then hit the glass door and everything shattered. So
I'm surprised that even happened that slow. Because I feel like if Jimmy would have pulled that gun and shot, Russ would not have had time to move.
No, gun is too quick.
the girls ducked down too before he even shot it.
Right. That's what made Russ go, what? And look. And that's why I'm like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, it did happen too slow. And then one thing, I don't know if anybody knows, but Brooke took Peyton's hand when they saw the gun.
Yeah.
So
Like
Brooke,
protection.
Yeah, she knows what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then,
well, maybe Peyton was off guard and Brooke saw it first and was like don't go any further.
Yeah, because she was the one that did, she was the one closest to the door.
Yeah.
Like she took she was there first in front of the doors.
I can't help but think right now, like, what would I do in that situation? I don't even know. I wouldn't even know what I would do.
Well, and then for them to duck, you're still, he hasn't aimed at you, so still not good. You gotta move a different direction, not just get down.
I would get down, but I don't know. Oh my gosh.
I guess that was the only thing they could think of to do in the moment. So
Well, because they had to get Peyton. So, because if Brooke and Peyton would have ran, then there would be no story then
yeah.
for them.
Now that I'm thinking, this memory just popped into my head. Years ago at work, this was like 11, 12 years ago, there was a customer, and he was very fond of one of the girls that work there. And he was kind of stalking her. And he made some threats. I remember me and another girl went upstairs and we're like hiding in an office because he made some threats about a gun and bringing it up there. That right there was scary. And and the guy didn't even actually show up. But just being in that situation alone was terrifying.
Yeah.
To actually be in front of the person holding a gun, oh my God.
Yeah, and it's hard because like you can sit there and plan what you would do, but then like in the instant,
You never
like,
know.
what would you do? Like you
Right.
wouldn't know.
Yeah, obviously, we see Jimmy didn't plan this far ahead because, once the glass shatters, that's when
He runs.
He comes out of it and he realizes exactly what he did.
Yeah, it don't like it hits him. Holy cow, this is serious. What did I do?
Yeah, so like in a panic, you see him like put the gun back in his hoodie pocket.
Leave.
Yeah, blend into the crowd,
It's like no one saw him.
Yeah, and that
No one in the hallway saw him.
well, apparently because they were all running in different directions.
I'm sure somebody knew.
Yeah, that's why I bring it up later, but because when Brooke told Lucas, she said someone has a gun. She didn't say Jimmy.
Yeah, but Brooke was
Payne said Jimmy.
But that's because
Brooke, she was probably out of it. Like
No, I'm thinking it was because Peyton was very invested with Lucas at the beginning, so she knew his friends or the people.
Yeah.
But Brooke was like all about Lucas and that's it, not really caring about his friends in season 1. And so I think, the only one she got close to was Mouth in season 1. She didn't get close to Skills or Junk or Fergie. So I think because of who Brooke was in season 1, she didn't care who the rest of his friends were.
So Lucas didn't bring up Jimmy's tape to her after the time capsule came out, even if we didn't see it.
Must not have. She was preoccupied with herself.
With her own tape, but
yeah. And the benefit. She wasn't worried about Jimmy's tape.
Yeah.
She was only worried about what she did.
Okay.
She took her top off.
On the tape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brooke did.
Yep. And the whole school saw it.
Like boobs and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds like a Jaycee move. I feel like I would be Brooke.
Okay.
Yes.
A little lightheartedness.
So after the shot had went off, Brooke was on the floor, like scooting back, using her arms to cover her as kids were gonna, running through the
Standing alone.
Yeah. And then somebody, anybody lifted her up and started pushing her forward. So by that point, we don't know where Peyton went. We didn't see her at all after that gun went off, after they ducked down.
Yeah.
So I wonder how they did that, because if, I was with a friend, that would be my first thing. Is to, it was a mess, but I don't know, she didn't notice until she was outside looking for Payne, as far as we know. If I was still in the school about to exit the school, I would at least be looking while I'm being pushed. I don't know. It's hard to say too, because I've never been in a situation. that's just my thought.
Right.
I think your whole thought is get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably not thinking about anything else.
You're hoping they think of themselves too and get out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then with Payne's injury too, I'm just kind of surprised that no one noticed her bleeding into the library. But yeah, so Turner.
So did she crawl herself all the way to the library?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That had been a long crawl.
Oh, the leg.
Oh, she was shot in the leg. Oh.
Yeah.
So she could only crawl.
I was like, why is she calling if she was shot in that?
Because when Lucas says we got to get out of here, she goes, I can't move.
Didn't someone end up carrying her?
Lucas.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So the principal Turner rushes into the office, telling someone's called 911.
The secretary.
Yeah.
You got to give people credit. Cynthia should know. Whoa. whoa, after today's talk that we had before we recorded, you should know Brittany cares about titles and you should give props to secretaries. Got that? Cynthia.
Yeah. So he makes the code red over the PA system, saying it's not a drill. And he tells students to get to a designated lockdown area. And of course, Mouth is in the AV room editing with his headphones on.
Here's
You think
He heard nothing during this.
no,
Yeah.
he heard nothing.
You think, I'm thinking like vibration wise, like you think with everybody running and just the voices, the loudness of the voices, he'd be able to feel something, wouldn't he?
His headphones must be really blasting with something.
Like,
You would think he would.
unless, I mean, they maybe had soundproof headphones back then, but I don't know.
Maybe the room itself.
I was gonna say maybe the media room had some soundproof.
Maybe,
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, of course, that's his timing. And then outside, Brooke is looking for Peyton. Just then the Ravens bus gets to school from a game, I guess.
Or it could be practice or something. I don't even know why. It's school time. What the hell are they doing on a
So
bus?
I'm like, where do they come from? But either way, everyone's
Stupid as hell.
Yeah, everyone's scrambling.
Well, I didn't think it was a game because Nathan isn't dressed up
Yeah,
in a
they weren't
suit.
dressed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember
Yeah.
what they were wearing, honestly. I just know it wasn't
Nathan had jeans.
Yeah.
Nathan had
Yeah.
jeans. So did Lucas.
Oh.
Yeah, they weren't dressed. They were in their uniforms or like their.
I mean, they were
Yeah.
cute, but they
Yeah.
weren't dressed like that. So,
Yeah, that's they're supposedly seeing.
I mean, what did Whitey do? Have practice at 6 a.m.? Everyone got the bus at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be early.
Yeah, so everyone's.
I could see him doing that.
Yeah, it's Whitey.
Yeah.
And then Brooke runs to Lucas and tells him that someone's in there with a gun. She lost Peyton, and then of course Nathan hears this and runs. Okay, so when Lucas runs and tackles Nathan,
Not
the
funny.
the funniest shit.
Because Lucas did like kind of like a cartwheel, kind of when he was going over
Gosh.
a cliff.
So was Nathan running away?
Nathan was running inside to go get Haley.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was his only thought when he heard
Yeah.
about the shooting. Yeah,
Funny though.
and you know why he's trying to get them to come back.
It's funny because
Yeah.
get your ass back.
And then, but did you see Brooke? She was gonna run after Lucas, but then Whitey grabbed her.
Oh.
He really grabbed her.
Yeah, so the bus and made the bus go. Yeah, so.
Wow.
hmm But then she still doesn't know where Payne is at this point either.
Now her boyfriend.
Yeah.
That would be so terrifying.
hmm
Just all the unknown.
hmm Yeah. So and then Lucas knows that Payne was hurt, or is missing because Brooke said that they were right there when the shot went off.
So Brooke doesn't know at this point.
No.
that
Yeah, she doesn't know. She just knows
No.
Peyton is
is
missing.
Yeah. So then, Haley's in the tutoring center at that time.
Yeah, so it was funny because like Lucas is like, "What are you like? What's your plan?" And he's like, "I'm going to the tutor center to get Haley." It's like, oh my god.
And then, inside of school, the lights are off with book bags and belongings dropped on the floor.
And that's when the boys really take it in of what happened.
Mhm.
And they see blood right away, and Lucas right away. Might be it's Payne's blood, probably. And Nathan's like, you don't even know that.
Okay. My question, behind them we saw more kids get on other buses.
Uh-huh.
So were the kids in the tutoring center the only ones left by them, but for some reason the other kids were evacuated? Because it seemed that way. You know what I mean?
I don't know
Is that the opinion?
because I feel like school shootings that have happened, they keep them inside
Yeah.
Nobody's
Nobody's
outside, but besides
Right.
that, everybody that's inside stays inside.
until they come through and evacuate everybody, make sure it's
Yeah.
all clear.
Outside
Each
run.
classroom.
No, I can't run. I'd probably get trampled.
Yeah, so that was just my thought. It makes sense for the show, but now I realize that wouldn't happen.
Maybe if they
Right.
were, maybe those are the kids who are outside.
Everybody, but
I don't know.
the 8 or whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, they said to stay inside, or go to a
Yeah.
classroom, but all those kids. I think it was because it was the right before the first class, so they were all like, "I'm getting out of here." I
Oh.
technically don't have to be here yet.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, because he said designated lockdown areas, which would be inside. But yeah, I don't know. We know this show doesn't make sense with a lot of things. But
It's good. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Some of it doesn't
Mhm.
line up right.
Yeah, so Haley, lets some people in and tells them to sit down and keep quiet and turns off the lights.
And then you see each and every one of them.
Yeah, you see Skills, Rachel, Marcus, Abby, and then behind Abby.
Jimmy was in there?
They said you watched this episode.
It's been a long time. It's been 10 years. Give me a break.
Yeah, so that was like the big plot twist for the episode.
Like, oh, they think they're safe.
Mhm.
And then, nope. We go down the line. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the actress playing Abby,
Mm-hmm.
she looked familiar.
I
I can't ask you because you don't know.
I just know her that she was on
Drake and Josh.
Yep.
That's what I was
Josh's
calling.
girlfriend. Yep.
Oh. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of no shit there?
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say that she was on this show after that show.
So they have an Abby in the episode.
On Drake and Josh?
No, on One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
And I always like to go back to the fact that he was on Dawson's Creek and Miss Abby was being mean to him. Abby and Abby. Not that this Abby was being mean, but I'm just like, of all names, why are you using Abby, the one that was mean to him on Dawson's Creek?
I've met some mean Abbies in my time.
No, but it's just kind of like you're writing a show, but of all the names you can use,
You picked
the same one that was mean to him on the
Do you think
previous
it was-
show he was in.
Do you think it was done on purpose?
I don't know.
Well, me and Jaycee had this conversation about the word or the name used for Anna.
Yeah.
And Payton's mom, and then Anna, the Felix's sister.
Yeah.
But why would they use the same name when there's so many other names?
Yeah, but people are gonna parallel it to Dawson's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I always like to say, now that I saw Dawson's Creek, I now like to say that Abby was a trigger and bullied him, and then this is what the outcome is on One Tree Hill. It's all because of Abby.
You're right.
Think
It's
about
the
it.
dang Abby.
Well, except this Abby actually helps Lucas, so.
What? Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
this Abby's fine. But I'm saying Abby on Dawson's
Yeah.
Creek
She was a meanie.
was mean,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is what happens on the next show.
Mm-hmm.
What?
That's crazy.
I'm like, wow, it started so early for him.
Yeah, so inside Whitey's office, Nathan finds a baseball bat.
Oh, Lucas was funny. What are you gonna do with that?
That's the gun.
It's not a bullet.
Oh, maybe you could try to whack the gun out of his hands.
Yeah, and then whack him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then take the gun.
I used to carry a baseball bat and with me on my tricycle that I'd ride around the neighborhood, keep it in my basket.
But when Lucas said like heroes, like all heroes are dead or something, I was like, well, yeah, because he was trying to say like, what are you going to be, a hero?
Well, he's more the hero types.
That is only the hero to Haley.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Hey, I give him
Lucas,
props though. He's doing what he's got for his woman.
Mm-hmm.
barely.
Hey, I would want my man to come running looking for me. In that
I would,
situation.
but after last episode, I wouldn't.
Well, I still would.
Someone that's still iffy about you.
He obviously isn't if he ran in a school shooting to save her.
Just like,
He's not very iffy in my opinion.
just saying, that happened real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, Lucas says, let the police handle it, and Nathan points out that they're just going to wait and game plan. They always do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He's not wrong.
But I did like when he said, like, it's Haley, Lucas, like, I need to go, basically.
Mhm.
And then he's like, yeah.
Yeah, and ask if they walk away and something
That
happens
was-
to her.
that
would be
was-
okay living with that.
But it was so cute, because, like, when Lucas walks away from Nathan, he's like, basically, like, I love you, but he
Yeah.
didn't say I love you.
Yeah.
And then Nathan goes, like, me too, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like basically, be careful, I love you, but they couldn't say be careful, I love you. I was like, oh my God.
The time to be all macho, just say it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I love these two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, back in Tutoring Center, Marcus says we need to
Tutoring center, it's like a goddamn classroom.
I mean, yeah, besides the
No, but it
much the
seemed
same.
like when he went to, it seemed like the tutoring center, like season 1, was like a big room, like
Yeah.
kind of like the library, but not. Now
Maybe they
this,
switched it.
now this is a freaking classroom.
Maybe they don't want to like record in a bigger room. Maybe I don't know for this.
I know, but if you're going to use the tutoring center, why didn't he just have to go get her at first period or something? Why did it have to be the tutoring center? This is not the tutoring center.
Maybe because then they could.
Because they didn't know I was going to be watching this and
Maybe
nitpicking.
Then it would have made more sense why different kids from different circles would have been in there.
Still in there right now.
Well, technically they were nearby the center, but I'm thinking maybe at least some of them were in there. We didn't see
Still in there.
except for Haley.
To take cover.
It's just kind of weird.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
The people that are in there.
I think they probably just ran in there to.
Yeah, they had been nearby. Yeah.
The only ones.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is outside.
Yeah.
I'd rather been outside.
I'd have been late that day.
So Marcus is the one that doesn't really think. He just wants to,
Just beats.
yeah, and wants to take action. But Haley says it needs to stay put. It's procedure for lockdown. And, Marcus says it's crap because whoever's out there is a student and they know where they're at, which is a good point also. But Rachel asks, what about the windows? They can break them and get out. And Haley says,
It's a courtyard.
yeah. So, of course, they think of every way to try to get out.
They stay put.
Yeah. And Marcus says, doesn't he think that a locked door is just going to tell whatever psycho is out there that they're in there? And then
I like when Jimmy said, why would you call him a psycho?
Oh.
Yeah.
And he said, because someone's trying to kill us. Like, that's why.
that should have
That's
been
pretty. Yeah.
their first red flag of something is going on.
What, Jimmy? With Jimmy?
Yeah, because why would you be defending the shooter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in knowing that the gun did go off, you don't know who got shot.
No.
I mean, and somebody could be dead.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. Like, if you heard gunshots, that's your thought is somebody's dead.
That's what I would think.
Yeah. And it could be one of your friends. You don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he tells Jimmy, someone's trying to kill them all.
Oh my God, what do you call them?
He's like, you're just digging the hole to not only your grave, but everybody else's.
Yeah. I know. I was like, I would not want to be in the room with that guy.
I know,
What?
he was the worst one to be in that room.
But you have to remember, kids don't say crap. And they don't take shit seriously.
No.
Yeah, so
Think about our class. We talked about how they don't take stuff seriously. That
They
they
never
would have they would have said the same thing.
Yeah.
I know certain people that would have said the same thing to them.
Absolutely.
So, and then we would have all been dead because of the person. You know?
They can't keep their mouth shut.
Yeah. It's like sometimes you can keep your mouth shut. Yeah. But yeah, we know those same people that would be like this
Oh, yeah.
in a very stressful, serious situation. It's not funny.
No.
Like, don't be calling people names.
yeah. So then Lucas follows the blood trail to the library. But this is what also didn't make sense to me about Pam moving. She went up a flight of stairs. Because it's like little raised, I don't know how to explain, more like upstairs, downstairs, then get to the main floor of the library.
I don't know. She paid attention to it.
Yeah, and then she went past so many aisles to get to that one bookcase behind it. So I don't know, like, how badly was she injured for her to move that much? I mean, it could have been adrenaline too.
I would say it was probably her adrenaline
Yeah.
at the time because it was literally fight or flight. She had to take some coverage and get there no matter what.
Yeah, so since Lucas didn't see anything from when he was higher up, he walking around, hears some noise behind a bookshelf. So he's going to sneak up on the person with the bat, but then he sees this pain and, of course, scares her, poor thing. And then, drops the bat to comfort her.
And then he was going to touch her leg, and she was like, it's my leg. Like, that's why.
Yeah, and she said she got cut by some glass, which she probably did anyways.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
She didn't know.
I'm sure there's glass in there.
no, yeah, she didn't know at first.
Oh.
Well, she knows she's bleeding, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
and she knows the glass broke that she
So
was
that's
by.
what she assumed it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think her mindset is there that it was a bullet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this actually just happened to me.
Yeah, and then she's wearing her blue jeans, so you can't really easily see anyways.
See? Plus, she probably doesn't want to see
Yeah,
it. That's
yeah.
not a scene I'd want to see
Right.
on yourself. I mean, first of all, let alone anybody else, but like on yourself, like.
I couldn't imagine.
And then she worries right away that she lost Brooke. She tells him as she's crying.
Oh no!
And then he's like, she's fine.
But you just felt bad because she's like, I'm sorry, because that's his girlfriend. You know?
like I'm sorry I lost her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean, she's injured and she's sitting here worrying about Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
She really cares about her.
Yeah.
Mm.
But now she doesn't
For
want
all
to
the,
be.
for all the Brooke haters.
Yeah.
No, for all the pain haters.
Yeah.
I mean.
So now she doesn't, want to be alone without Lucas. But he says that he's going to barricade the door and then he'll come back.
Then he said, then that's when she said like she can't walk, so they gotta stay put.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want him to go.
Yeah. So he promised he's not going to leave her. And then elsewhere, Nathan is walking the halls when he hears someone coming.
Okay, this was hilarious because of his mouth coming out of the AV room.
Didn't know anything was going on.
So then, like, mouth is being real loud and crap, and Nathan's like,
But-
Nathan grabs him,
Yeah.
pushes him against the wall, and I'm like, dude, he's your friend.
Yeah.
Chill
Yeah.
out.
He didn't know he didn't like give him. He didn't give him for more than a second to see. He just whoever it was, he was going to grab it, thinking it's a shooter.
But as you're taking him, you see its mouth. But he was still up there, like, shut up. And I'm like, let go of him.
But what I thought was kind of funny is that Mount didn't question why Nathan even did that. He just asked what's going on.
And then it real loud. And then Nathan's like,
yeah, he didn't like say like be a shooter. He just like kept letting Mount talk, And
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, you're losing time too.
Yeah, just tell him.
well, and then Mel said
And
we're
Nathan,
dead.
Mount-
He says, Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Nathan goes, don't say dead.
Oh my god.
So then Nathan's like, you gotta go. Like, you gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
And then Mel looks at the bat and then looks at Nathan and says, I'll go with you.
Oh my gosh.
I was cracking up. Like, I know it's a serious episode,
But it needed that little bit of
laughter and it.
relief in there, yeah.
But when now he said it, he goes, I'll go with you. Oh my God.
I mean,
I
we
would
didn't
too.
have any better option than that at the time.
I mean, I'd go with Nathan too.
Me too.
And back in the tutor center, Skills have no signal on his phone. And then they hear a sound outside the door. Marcus stands up and an ID slides under the door.
And Haley sees, and it's Nathan. And then whatever his name, what's his name?
Marcus.
Guess yeah. He was like, like don't let him in because Haley's like it's Nathan. Okay, so first we just had Nathan be a little like aggressive and violent.
Well-
Now we got Skills pushing Marcus. I love this.
Yeah, because Marcus was like, how do you know somebody didn't kill him and take his ID?
Oh, yeah.
But I love when Skills grabs him and pushes him like, no, like let him in. And I'm like,
It's him, yeah.
I loved it.
But I liked how she tested it to see if it was really him by doing a little always and forever.
Well, yeah, because she said always, and then he says forever.
Yeah.
But especially when he says it, it's his voice.
Yeah.
Like somebody.
So that's double.
But you do have to remember that nowadays, people can AI your
Ooh,
voice.
they can.
And they could sneak in by using that person's voice.
There's so many scams out there.
Mhm.
I got a text the other day telling me I have an unpaid toll
Yeah.
and to go to this link to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Oh yeah, I've gotten like stuff of like different places, and I'm like, you're funny.
they're
I don't
getting
have
better with these things.
I don't have an account with any of you people, so I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're always in text messages for me, and I'm always like, I don't open them because I know if you open them, that's how they hack into
Yep.
stuff. So I just delete them and
Or I
block
get
them.
something that's like, oh, you have a package. You need to update your address.
Oh
for
yeah,
it
I've
to
had
be
that too. It won't be
delivered."
delivered. You gotta like call. Yeah, and I'm like, well,
I'm like, I didn't order shit.
I know. I'm like, all my stuff gets delivered.
Yeah.
So. And if it doesn't, I just get it. Or I just
Yes.
tell them to dang it
So these
over.
days, they absolutely could mimic somebody like that.
Well, especially too, if that person knows their keywords,
Yes.
he could easily get Nathan to say the word forever. And then have
Record
him play it back, and then baby.
And then Skills grabbed Marcus too because he put himself between Haley and the door too, so he's blocking it.
Yeah, because he didn't want Nathan. He didn't want whoever was out there. But I just love Skills because push. I'm like, oh, good job. Because I'm like, we just went from Nathan to. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I just love them.
Mhm.
I do.
Yeah.
And then he. Well, because then they were like talking about like even Rachel, they're like let them in because like they're out
Leave
there.
him out there.
Yeah, you can't leave them out there.
No.
You don't know who's out there, but little do they know the person inside is the one that you should be afraid of.
Oh, for real.
Not outside. You're actually safer outside.
Yeah, so I felt bad for Nathan and Mouth because they just walked into the danger themselves without
Mm.
Well, and Mal thinking Nathan's gonna protect him.
Oh, the bat.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Bat versus gun. Hmm.
Yeah, so then now they're all about to leave, and Mouth is about to unlock the door when Jimmy says don't. So everyone looks over at him to see
And I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
This is a little weird.
about.
Jimmy takes forever to pull the trigger to begin with, right?
Mhm.
How is it you can't just open the door and lock out? Nathan's bad. One of them, Skills could have went behind Jimmy and like grabbed him. Nathan smacks the gun out. Exactly, like work as a team. There's how many of you in the
Taking time
room?
together.
There's how many of you in the room? Take control of the room.
Between all them big guys, they could have got him down.
And the girls, like Rachel, loves to pepper spray people.
They could have apprehended them.
It's very easy that it was only Jimmy in their room that they could have gotten him
I
to.
mean, I guess they didn't want to risk just one of them getting shot and killed.
I mean, I don't blame them.
It's better than being.
Because that's what this is the plan that Marcus suggested too at some point.
Yeah, but to be honest, it is true. Like, here's the thing. Jimmy isn't the person that planned this. Like, if somebody had planned this, I'd be a little bit more scared because they've truly planned this for a long time of how to do this. But for Jimmy...
But they didn't know that. They thought that he did have a plan.
Somebody waving a gun like this is not somebody that knows what they're doing.
Well, you don't know that in the moment.
And they didn't want to
I do. I'm like, what's up
You
with this?
wouldn't know that in the moment.
I'm like, what is this? What is this? I'm like, I would be like, dude, bye.
If you were standing there in that crowd,
I would have, first of all, I'd hide.
scared as shit.
I'd behind that Marcus guy because he could go first. Run out the door.
Sacrifice everybody.
I would have built the door. Leave all you. Wait, I'd leave Marcus. He's the problem.
Yeah.
Everybody else can leave.
Yeah, so I wonder if Jimmy just let them walk out, then he could have walked out and then the day would have been over.
Well, I mean, that was the thing. Was for this episode, we couldn't have.
I don't think the cops were there at the time, so they couldn't check everybody for weapons.
But I think the reason why we couldn't just have them tackle Jimmy, like, Jimmy's gotten beat up how many times?
Well, because
they could have very easily taken
They could
him.
have.
and then we couldn't have Keith's
Death.
plot, yeah.
But I'm saying that we couldn't have this episode because it's been done and over in the first 5 minutes.
Mhm.
So we had to go. But I just feel like they should have maybe played that a little differently. Like Jimmy standing in the doorway and won't let them out and he's holding the gun.
Yeah.
Like something like that. But for them to be by the door, but for it to be opposite where he's at the back of the room and they're all by the door, you mean to tell me they couldn't walk out?
Between all them, they could have got
That's
him.
what I'm saying. And two, if they all go in different directions, right?
Mhm.
He don't know who the heck to point at. By that point, they're gone because he don't know where he's pointing. Just like he did at the very beginning. It was so slow motion.
Well, maybe like he says later, they haven't hung out, and they wouldn't right now if he didn't have the gun. So maybe in his way, it was his way of hanging out with his friends again, as bad as it was.
Oh.
With a gun?
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
He saw it that way.
But I'm just saying that I think for him it was taking control of all of them.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, they should have made it different where he's at the front and they are stuck in there because he is like, I am not letting you
Holding
out.
them.
Holding hostage. Because otherwise, I should have just.
It would have been a more realistic scenario.
Because I do think if that would have happened in real life, kids would have just walked out.
Yeah.
I mean,
At least, yeah, the ones in front, yeah.
They would have tried something, I think.
yeah. Not just stand there and go, I'll give you my phone, I'll give you whatever. Oh my God. No, I'd be like, I would
Someone's
stand
gonna
there.
take action.
I know, I'd stand there and be like, you're funny.
Yeah, because
Like, I'd just keep going at him because I'd be like, I'd probably be Marcus because I would just be like, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
You have nothing planned.
yeah,
The way you're waving that gun around.
yeah, because they didn't take him seriously as being the shooter, even when he said like, why would you call him a psycho? And then he just says don't, and they don't think any like, why would you say don't besides not having the gun, not having the gun.
Right.
So they didn't take him seriously until they actually saw right in front of them that he was indeed the one having the gun.
like either that Nathan was scared.
Well, I mean, either way, I would be too.
Scared of a gun?
Mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't be scared of a gun?
Not with Jimmy holding it. Listen, the way he was.
Especially with
No.
Jimmy holding it. He don't know how to aim that thing.
You should have seen the way he was waving it. I'm sorry, the way he was waving it. You've never held a gun, dude.
Guns ain't that light either to be waving like them.
No, he's going like that.
They're heavy.
Like, what are you doing? You're going like this with a gun.
Since you can't see us, Brittany's kind of imitating what he was doing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, something that will know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I would take a little more seriously. Jimmy, on the other hand.
But then again, a stray bullet could come from. I mean, he could be waving and accidentally hit the trigger.
But I think, okay, but put yourself in his shoes for a second. Like, if you're that upset, you're going to have so much rage in you, you're going to, like, want to, like, aim it at somebody. Be like, you're my target.
Did he specifically have a target?
No.
Well, just Russ, but after that,
Just Russ.
yeah, because Russ.
Maybe he should follow Russ.
Bully of them all.
Why didn't he just follow
I think
Russ?
he got in over his head at that point.
Russ already left the school.
I think he didn't. I think he was just distraught, didn't know what to do, and was just waving it.
I mean, he never actually shot anybody. I mean, Payne's like, but
yeah.
I'm like, y'all could have. I still think they could have taken him. Still believe.
Yeah.
Now, the actual school shootings that happen, no.
Mhm.
Those people are usually in it.
Oh, yeah, they usually are planned.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Like, in those situations, it happens so fast. And, because they always say, in, 5 minutes, they've shot how many people? So,
Too many.
like, I don't know, there's, a time frame that it's, it just happens so fast that it's, who's going to try to stop that at that point? Because your whole point is to get out and run. In this situation, he hasn't pulled the trigger yet.
No.
He hasn't shot anybody.
Well, they heard something, so they know something happened, but they didn't see it. So they know what he did or didn't do at this
They just heard.
So, I said, they didn't know that.
But again, somebody that, the school shooters, they have a target, which is hurt as many people as possible. That's in their head. Or shoot the people that are picking on them. That's their target. But for Jimmy, he didn't have a target. So they could have very easily. I'm just saying, the difference between Jimmy and the real school shooters is totally different because those ones are planned. They know what they're doing. They've held a gun before. Jimmy
could have walked away.
And you know what people have talked about now with recent shootings is that at this point, the kids that went through the lockdowns and that were actually really told what and what not to do, they grew up with that. So now they know exactly what the procedure is on the lockdown. So they know how to get past it easier.
But now in school, there's active shooter procedures.
Yeah, so Cynthia is saying they know how to.
No, I'm saying all we ever had was lockdowns.
Yeah.
I'm talking about today though. The shooters now are at the age where they've been doing these lockdowns their whole life and more often, so they know exactly what happens.
We've been in school for 13 years. Has it been 13 years?
We're in 25 now, so 13, going on 13.
Yeah, 13 years. So.
I've been only 10.
Oh, because you worked out at school?
No, just because that's what I picked.
Oh, I don't think it works that way.
I go backwards.
You just pick yours. No, I wish. That's how it works. I'm 21.
I mean, I've heard people that once they hit 40, they go backwards. I'm now 34.
I've been celebrating 21 for the past
13 years. I'm kidding.
9 years.
Oh my god. I don't know. I just feel like it should have been a little bit planned out.
Yeah.
For this, because I just feel like they could have gotten out. In my opinion.
But I feel like at the same time, maybe they didn't want to make it worse.
But also
because of how
but
touchy the subject is.
But in that room, you have Mouth, Skills, and Haley, who knew Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's not like it's a stranger to them.
Well, yeah.
This new person, maybe, but...
Mm-hmm. I would say it's been a year since they talked, so they don't know how much Jimmy has changed since then.
They're not really friends anymore. Yeah.
But they could also get in his brain to tell him to put the gun down.
Well,
Like,
And that's what they were trying to do until Marcus made things worse.
I know, that's why you kick Marcus out.
how are you gonna make someone leave if they're not gonna?
Marcus wanted to.
More like.
No, Marcus wanted to leave.
And he just couldn't.
You should have kicked him out and then you'd be safe. Because then you could have worked together to just stop it.
Yeah.
But Marcus was the problem. He
Yeah,
was making it worse.
You know, when he, at this point at Jimmy, he looked, you can see he looked scared again. And, Mouse talking to him first, asking, why.
Well, I think that's the thing is, again, the school shooters, they're not scared anymore.
No.
They already know what's about to happen, that either they're going to get arrested or they're going to kill themselves.
Yeah.
So, they already know that going into it, where Jimmy doesn't. So that's the thing is, here they have the upper
It was a
hand.
very impulsive decision.
Yeah, they have the upper hand, where the real ones, they don't. Like, the kids, they don't have the upper hand. Because the shooters are not, they're okay to lose their life.
Yeah, they go into it accepting that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Where I think if you would have talked to Jimmy a little more, it's like in like a little friend setting, it's like maybe you could have pulled him back
to reality,
because that's what they were trying to do with the concert. He went there to like kind of make up, but then when Mouth ditched him to be with Brooke and Lucas ditched him, that's when he got beat up and stuff. And it's like, and then of course it drew him back to what's happened in the year.
Yeah.
But again, he went there to kind of try to, and again, that's what I'm saying.
He ended up shooting them like, you guys left me. You were supposed to be my friend and you weren't.
But I feel like if you would have just had just the friends in there, it would have been better.
They could have actually spoke to him.
Right, than everyone. Because everyone now has their opinion of like Marcus or Rachel. And it's like, you don't need their opinions. You just need your friends trying to talk you out of it.
Right.
And that's it. Even Nathan, he shouldn't be there.
Yeah, because, Skills, because Jimmy's telling everybody to get away from the door. Skills asked him, "What, you're going to shoot me? We used to be friends." And, Jimmy says, "Yeah, used to be."
But he didn't say he was going to shoot him.
And then, Mel tells Jimmy he can't do this. And Jimmy says, "It's too late."
Like, Marcus apologized. Sorry, I called you a fat ass. I'm like,
oh my God.
You apologize now.
Yeah. And Jimmy says, "Yeah, it's a little too late for that."
Calls Nathan a hero. You scared hero?
So, but why did you think Nathan was a hero? Because he didn't.
He came out with the baseball bat.
Oh, yeah, I guess. He didn't use it on him, but.
No, but he is the star of the. Nathan Scott, of all people. Of all people.
Well, you just think that he would think Lucas is the hero since he knew Lucas.
I'm talking about being big and bad. Would come in and knock the crap out of Jimmy. That's what I'm coming with.
He should have.
He's okay. You want your man to protect you.
Yeah.
Go knock him out.
Yeah.
He's right there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like the Nathan Scott that we know
would have taken action.
Would have punched the crap out of Jimmy. I'm just saying.
The writing was bad on that part.
Because you can't send Nathan Scott in a room with him.
He went there on a mission. Why would he stop?
Please. You're gonna just Nathan is just gonna give up. He's Dan Scott's kid. That's
that
never
make sense.
That's never gonna happen.
That really doesn't make sense.
Nathan, who will do anything to protect Haley. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me?
And he's just
no.
Wow.
That's my point. That was off.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why Nathan shouldn't have been in the room, because it doesn't make sense that Nathan would not have taken charge and done something. He could have looked at Skills. They could have made eye contact. We've got this.
Right.
Marcus, shut up. But like we got
yeah.
It's like, that's what I'm saying, teamwork. But Nathan would have done something. He had a freaking baseball bat.
Yeah, why have the bat if you're not going to use it?
Oh, you're big and bad. Really? That's what I didn't like, was now all of a sudden Nathan is not Nathan. He's not.
But then again, in these types of situations, people don't always act in a way they normally would, because it is It's- I don't know how to explain the words I'm thinking.
Maybe we should add Lucas in there because Dan did try to kill him. So
Yeah.
he's already used to that.
You're just not thinking in your right state of mind in a situation like this, I feel like.
But when it comes to Haley, when has Nathan thought in the right state of mind?
Ever.
Oh, then this should have been the exact same thing.
But there's a gun.
Okay, but he's Dan Scott's kid. You don't think that little part of him is Dan Scott?
Oh, I know there is.
Well, then that part should come out.
But it didn't.
Yeah, he does just make sure that he's between Jimmy and Haley. So.
Ooh, like the bullet can't go through him to her.
But that's not what he's thinking either.
I was thinking that. I was like, you do know it can go past you.
You're not Superman.
You do know it can go right through you.
Yeah.
Wearing a bulletproof vest so it won't hit Haley.
Wow, Nathan.
Yes, Jimmy's panicking, doesn't know what to do, but then I guess he thinks to open the desk or the drawer of the desk in the room and then sees a tape and tosses it to Nathan, telling him to make the line so, they stay over that line.
Again, take charge. I don't get it.
And then Nathan doesn't move at first, so he yells at Nathan.
Yeah, so, he takes all their stuff, and then Haley is calling, has 911 on her phone.
No, he didn't. He actually took it after.
I know, I'm just trying to speed up, because...
Yeah. I just said that's the only reason why he told them to give him their stuff, because of Haley's phone on 911. Yeah, so apparently it was for 30 seconds, and, he tells the 911 that if they come close, that they start shooting students. So now he makes this narrative of there's more than, him there in the school with the gun. And then he throws the phone against the wall. He didn't hang up the phone. So I feel like the phone call could have easily still been open because it seems like the phone broke. And, those phones back then were more steel-like than ours.
Pepper spray on him.
Yes, he told her to.
You're kidding me.
I mean, do you guys know how far I can reach? Because I don't know.
Pepper spray goes like 10 to 15 feet.
Okay, well, then yeah, she could have done something.
I'm over the office.
Pepper spray, and I've test sprayed it.
I guess they were just all too scared. It's the only thing to come up with here, but.
It's protective things if you're not going to use them.
Yeah.
No, and also, how is it we have all these people that could do something, and none of them are doing a thing? Teamwork, people. Rachel's got pepper spray. Nathan's got a bat.
Take him down.
Are you kidding me? You've got how many guys in the room? Take Jimmy down.
They could have
Are you
easily.
kidding? Nathan, or Rachel pepper sprays him. Nathan hits the gun out of his hand. They take charge. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
And then, he asks Nathan for his cell phone, but Nathan says he doesn't have it on him.
Why?
Yeah. And then outside, Dan is asking Turner, like, how can I get out?
The principal, he's got Dan. Just follow him around, just barking orders and questions. It was annoying.
I don't know why Dan was using his time yelling at Turner when he's the mayor.
Like he has power.
Like he doesn't even need Turner to do anything. He can do whatever he wants.
Well, I think that's
weird.
I think that's why Keith said you can get me in.
Yeah.
Because you're the mayor.
Mm-hmm. Can't do anything else, apparently, just that. But.
He likes to bark orders at people.
And apparently he said, where's the security guards and the metal detector? And Turner said that, you basically turn it.
Cut him. Yeah.
On the board. Vote against them, yeah. So, just so many wrong decisions in this episode from everybody. And then, so then they get on the phone 911 talking to, back and forth, and they, got the identification of one of the shooters and about them being more than one. And that's when we see Jimmy's mom calling out for him. And more than one shooter, yeah, because he told 911 if they get close to the school, we start shooting, yeah.
He used the word we, not I.
Oh.
Yeah.
But then Brooke is where is she? So she's at some gym. I've never seen it.
Another school, yeah, different school in the gym, yeah.
She's at another school.
Yeah, they evacuated the kids to a different school for now.
Remember they put them on the bus?
Yeah.
So Brooke is there, and this is where her parents will come in handy because she can't leave without her parents, to sign her out.
Yeah.
So
But she don't got parents. Well, I mean, she does, but she don't.
well, that's why they said you ain't leaving because
Yeah, and I felt
you
bad
need
for her.
parents.
Yeah, because you could tell the cop didn't care that she said that her parents don't live there, you know?
So how did she ever? What happened?
Well, eventually Karen
Oh
gets her
God.
out. Yeah, but at this moment she's living in the apartment with with Haley. So you think from that you think she'd be old enough to go out by herself? But,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, maybe if she was 18, maybe then she could have left. But anyway,
Yeah.
she's still 17 here. But yeah. So then a cop finds Jimmy's mom, and like we said before,
Yeah.
they don't really tell her anything, just go with them. In the back of the library, Lucas is pulling glass out of Payne's plate.
Peyton does say it was your friend Jimmy that did it. The one from the time capsule.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why she says it.
But she did say that he didn't look evil or angry, just looked scared.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a school shooter to me.
Right, yeah, no.
Does it?
No.
Usually they got war against somebody.
Yeah, that's why, again, relevancy. Hillary said that at this point, that's what they thought shooters were with these kind of kids like Jimmy. So now we know differently today, but yeah. So then we go back to the tutor room where everyone's phones are ringing. So Jimmy slams the drawer that, he put them in. And, he's trying to make sure everybody stays past the line so they don't get too close to him, try to attack him or anything. And,
I wish they would have.
They should have.
Yeah. And
It could have saved his life and ended the situation.
Yes, this is when Haley tries to talk to Jimmy, like, would you really shoot us? And Jimmy tells Haley just not talk to him. And
Mouth was really trying this episode. Because, they're talking about being friends and stuff. And yeah.
Jimmy don't feel like he's his friend anymore.
Well, not after a year of not speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Rachel steps in and was like, don't make him feel guilty about living his life. She told Jimmy that about Mouth.
yeah.
And it's true, but at the same time, I feel like if you're going to end your friendship, just don't ghost the person.
Talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to remember, Mouth ditched Lucas for Felix. Remember that?
That was weird.
So Mouth is a little like friend hopper.
He is.
Like,
And then Rachel.
yeah, instead of Brooke. It's like he just goes to the newbie.
Whoever
So-
will accept him right then and there.
Yeah, who he thinks is going to be popular and will accept him.
Piggybacking off of it.
Yeah.
And this is what Jimmy admits, like, he didn't really plan this. It's not like he woke up today and wanted this. He just wanted it to stop. And then Jimmy called out Skills, saying this is kind of screwed up, and Skills says more than kind of.
Yeah.
And that's when Marcus said about charging him. If they do it all at once, no way can shoot them all. But then Jimmy tells Marcus he's probably right, but who's going to be first? And he aims the gun at everybody again. And then
Then they ask if there are others, and he said no. Or somebody said no. Wasn't it Marcus?
Jimmy said that if they get past him, the others will just get them.
Yeah, but then they said, are there others to him?
And that's when Nathan said, Nathan said nobody's out there, it's just Jimmy. And then, that's when Jimmy
Did like when he said, do you ever treat someone like crap in the score or left out anyone? It's like, I mean, everyone that you're looking.
Yes.
Or talk trash behind their back. Again, all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that he said that because it's true.
Yeah, I feel like with the heavier topics, no one points out that Jimmy did make a point about how everybody just kind of left him, And
Especially when they blame Jimmy, when they left him.
Yeah.
So even if he tried to pick up the phone, and again, maybe he has tried, but then, like, how much longer are you going to keep trying?
And then a cell phone starts ringing, and
Marcus, yeah.
Yeah, so then he ends up, doing the same thing to Haley's phone and, hits him against the wall. But every single time he's, first he told Marcus's mom that her son's a dick, and then that's when he hit the phone.
That's funny.
Yeah, but then he keeps repeating, open your eyes to every other phone.
Phone, yeah.
Yeah. that was, he was like getting it all out, some of his anger at least. So
That's sad though.
yeah. And then so at this moment, Marcus thinks it's a perfect time to grab the gun. And of course, it's right in front of Jimmy, so he picks it up again and points it at Marcus. And this is when it gets intense because, Marcus is like, "You're not going to shoot me," And Marcus or Jimmy, like acts like he is gonna. And then Nathan tells Skills, like, "Help me out here." So that's when Skills gets up, tries talking to Marcus, but it's no use. So he's like, "Marcus," and he turns around like, "What?" And that's when Skills punches him out. So
See, Skills punching Marcus like
Oh,
no choice.
unfortunately, he doesn't stay out, but yeah, because things would have been easier if he stayed passed out. But it had to be done.
Yep.
And then Jimmy tells everyone to get behind the line again because they all went past it. And he's yelling, which makes Abby cry, and it was on the floor by a cabinet. And this is the first shot here where you do see her medical bracelet before Haley sees it when she goes to check on her.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if you remember that Abby's a diabetic, so she was starting to get sick
Yep.
at this point. Yeah. And then, but outside, Dan mentions to the detective that since he knows where Edwards is, like, why don't they get control of the situation and get somebody in there?
Right.
And like Nathan said before, they're waiting until something actually happens, and then they'll go inside.
I hate that.
Even though technically something already did.
It did, yeah.
They just, nothing since they got there, but I guess this doesn't count. And then,
Yeah, why do they wait so long?
That's what bothers me.
Yeah, because I would be like Keith. Like, if my kid is in there, I'm going in there. Like, I would want like how can you stand outside and wait hours and your kid is in there? Just think about that. Like,
Watching documentaries from like the shooting in that Texas school.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, some of the parents were like breaking down the fences and
what
I thought there
school
was a
should
mother who actually did get her son out.
she
What
did.
school was
They
this?
went in
In Texas, you something like that.
I don't know the name of the school, but it wasn't that long ago, just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, she went to her son's classroom and got them out because nobody else would go inside.
There was a bunch of kids that died though.
And see, like that would be me. Like,
Yeah.
if
How can you sit out there and just wait?
because here's the thing: is if my kid dies, I'm going with them.
Yeah.
Like, kill me because I
I'm gonna
will,
die trying to get them.
because I will. Because I can't live. Like, if I had a kid, I could not live without my kid.
No,
So
you
you
couldn't.
might as well just kill me now.
Yeah, dude, you're always trying to save them.
Yeah. But you might as well just kill me because I'm not going to be the one to just sit there and my kid is in
I
there.
can't imagine.
And you know what, too, though? Like, my parents wouldn't either. Like,
No.
my
I know
dad.
your dad would be in there in an instant with no hesitation.
My dad would be like, I'm taking charge.
Yeah, you got a good dad.
He'd be like, I'm protecting all of them because you all don't know what you're doing, clearly. Yeah, my dad would not just leave me in there. And that's
My dad would have.
what's crazy though? Like, those, like, when they kidnap you, like, keep you like for
The hostage
Yeah.
ransoms.
yeah, and they're like, no one like your family doesn't love you, or they're not coming to get you. And I'd be like, my dad will.
Bullshit.
My dad loves me enough.
Yeah, your dad would be breaking down all the walls to get to you.
It's like, my dad will come get me.
Yes.
He'll find a way to find me and save me. I'm like, that's the thing, is like, I know that. And I know that my brother will be along with him to protect me.
Absolutely. You got a whole rescue squad.
Yeah. So I'm like, I do know that part, that like nobody could tell me your family doesn't love you, because yeah, they do.
Right.
I mean, I went through it as in a crazy person.
Oh,
So, I mean, having that and having my whole like sister-in-law, brother, everyone backing me up and protecting me, watching me.
yes.
I mean, that's
That was
love.
amazing.
And I'm like, I have that. So nobody can tell me that they don't love me.
Because you know better.
Because I just watched it firsthand. You watched it.
Yep.
They loved me. So
That was a scary situation you went through.
it was, yeah.
Did you tell Cynthia about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, that was your first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking, so yeah, I remember what she was saying.
But yeah, that's why people couldn't tell me But my family wouldn't come find me or wouldn't try. Well, because you always hear like kids that get kidnapped too. They tell them your parents don't love
They will
you.
never look for you.
They're not on the TV right now talking. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it was Uvalde about that in a school in Texas.
What's that?
UVALDE. Uvalde. Let me see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she ended up getting both of her sons out in their different classrooms. Yeah, the police stopped her before she did it the first time, but then when they let her go from the cuffs, that's when she slipped down and ran. Yeah, first time before she even took off the first time.
Oh, screw that.
I would knock the cop.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I would knock the cop out just because I'm going to get my kid.
Yeah, so after she ran, got the first kid out, and then she went to the second classroom by the time the cops caught up to her, and she said, since you're here, you might as well evacuate the classroom. So it was because of her.
Because of her, but they wouldn't go in if she wouldn't have got. Wow.
She saved both her Yeah.
She saved the day.
Yep. But those two classroom there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But see, that would be me. I'd be like, you can arrest me when I got my kids.
Straight up.
When I know my kids are safe, that's when you can arrest me.
She got actually 2 weeks for doing that.
What? Not obeying the police orders, or
Yep.
Yeah.
please do my time for that.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Might have been that one or was there another one? Because there was like a dad. I don't know which school shooting it was. I don't know if it was Sandy Hook or which one, but there was one that the dad went into, and because he's like, no, my kid isn't there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not leaving without getting my kid.
No.
Or at least trying. And it's like, that's a thing. Like I know, because that's the thing is, yes, you're gonna have some stupid parents that don't know what they're doing,
Yep.
but you gotta try. Like, I know you shouldn't go in there, but if it's your kid, I'm going in.
100%.
So why isn't Dan going in?
Dan don't give a shit about, excuse my language, but Dan don't care about his kids. Dan cares
It's about Dan.
Dan.
Yep.
No other parents going in there either.
Mm-mm.
Okay, for Haley and Brooke, like her parents their parents are AWOL.
So is Peyton's.
I mean, but think about it. Like, it's on the news now, right? Your parents are in a different state or whatever.
Yeah.
Larry is on a boat too, so he's not even with us.
My dad.
Yeah.
Yes. First flight home.
He would have, yeah, immediately.
If he thinks driving's faster, he's home. Like, I had my first seizure. My mom calls him at like 4 or 5 a.m. I'm headed to the hospital. I'm being rushed to the hospital.
Yeah.
He drove fast, let's just say, from Tennessee to Michigan, made it in, was it 9 hours?
Wow.
Because he was speeding. And he said he would have, if he got pulled over, he would have said, my daughter's going to the hospital. I'm leaving. Like, you can give me a ticket.
Yeah.
I'm going. And so, and he made it there. And that's why it's like, even if it was on the news, he would have been there. That's why it's like, it doesn't make sense that, like, Brooke and, like, it's just, like, for these parents, like, what?
I don't
Where are
know.
his parents? And also, why did it take Keith so long to want to go in there?
I don't know, because after the cop tells Dan or detective whoever that they can't do anything right now,
That's what he said.
That's when Keith walks up.
Keith eventually goes in the building. That's where Dan shoots him. But why did it take Keith so long to, like, go in there?
Well, yeah, he probably was with Karen at the cafe. They probably would have only heard it by word of mouth, you know, because they didn't have TVs in the cafe. So yeah, that's why we have to go through everything so Jaycee remembers. Yeah, it's like hearing it for the first time. And then yeah, so Dan tells Keith that the shooter's Jimmy. Keith doesn't believe it because he's a good kid.
Oh my God. That's right. That's just, I forgot.
Yeah, because Keith wanted to go in and talk to Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, how could I have forgotten that?
So when Keith says he's not a bad kid, Dan looks at him and goes, he is now.
But I feel bad for Karen too, because she said when she was talking to the cop, she couldn't remember what Lucas was wearing this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she didn't get the chance to say goodbye. And he tells her that she's not going to have to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then this is the part. I'm glad they gave Brooke something to do, instead of just having her sit in the gym. But
Well, I think as a popular kid, she needed this.
yeah.
You know what happened?
No.
Yeah, so back in the gym, a reporter is playing Jimmy's time capsule video.
I'll make a whole thing out of this.
Is that when her video was shown?
No,
No.
it was shown last episode.
Oh.
Yeah. Just the reporter was looking at Jimmy's and then, telling she's going to make it put on the live feed. She'll get students' reactions, their emotions, their goals here.
Yeah, and then Brooke walks up and says, "A little sensitive, don't you think?"
Insensitive,
Or insensitive, yeah, don't you think?
Mhm.
And then that's when she wanted to interview Brooke because she's all of a sudden she just now, or no, did Brooke say she was the
Yeah.
student body president? Yeah.
Yep.
And then now the lady wants to interview her.
Yeah, she didn't even say, "Can I interview you?" She just starts the camera.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brooke said she should be ashamed.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
Okay.
so I'm glad that Brooke called her out because
Yeah.
some reporters would try to do whatever they could to make them be like the reporter that's getting all the details.
Right.
Yeah, so there's helicopters, more reporters. Marcus thinks it's a SWAT team and tells Jimmy there's a red dot on his forehead to duck. The skill says, it's just a reporter, so part of the circus now. So Nathan's trying to figure out, what Jimmy, figures out Jimmy doesn't know what to do. And then
Well, then they do ask Jimmy, did you hurt anyone?
Yeah.
And he doesn't know.
Mhm.
They asked Jimmy?
Yeah, did you shoot anyone?
Mhm.
Yeah, but he doesn't know because he wasn't in the mindset to remember.
Yeah. And
No.
he took off too, like everybody. Yeah, and Haley's trying to talk him down, saying he doesn't have a record. He's a good student, a minor, so he won't get that much of a punishment if he was an adult. And but then Marcus has to ruin it by laughing and
And that he's bad because he pointed a gun at them and threatening them. Yeah. And he says, "I hope they fry your ass." Marcus said.
yeah. So you think that the first comment that he made that he would have learned his lesson not to do this, but yeah. But then Abby kind of calls him out, saying Jimmy's just a kid. They're all kids.
Yeah.
And
She said, we can't live like this.
and the things he's saying do affect people.
I did like when, who was it that said out of 20,000, 30,000?
Rachel.
Oh, yeah, Rachel. Rachel's speech. Because she said it's only 700 days, high school.
Wow, if you think of it like that.
That's a long time. But it's 4 years.
She said out of 20 or 30,000 if you're that lucky to get that many.
Yeah.
So I like how everybody but Marcus was trying to put it more his mind to perspective.
I agree with Rachel that if you just get through these days, it will be better on the other side.
So much nicer.
Yeah, just get through this time.
I don't understand why people high school is going to be the best years of your lives.
No.
Bullshit.
Right.
No, I feel like as an adult,
Yeah.
those are the best years of your life.
Yeah. That's when Jimmy gets into, what's happened, that made him end up here. He said.
And then that's when he talks about his dad and everything.
Yeah, apparently he got spit on too by some people.
Oh, that's horrible.
And then he said, "You ever see the look in your dad's eyes when he realizes that, that his kid is a loser?"
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, "Do I get that day back?"
Mm-hmm.
No, was it Nathan? That sucks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have had something a little better to say.
But then they bring up Breakfast Club. This isn't gonna be Breakfast Club. We're all gonna just walk up being friends.
Great, you care now, but haven't cared before.
Are you going to care after this?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's when Mouth brings up they're supposed to go to college and MIT.
That's when Jimmy said he didn't make it.
That they rejected him.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said, I guess Tree Hill Fight Club doesn't count.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god! But then I didn't like when he said this is the end of the world for me. Didn't like that part because again, just get past it. You can have the worst high school years, but college or just if you get a job right after college or right out of high school, it's gonna be okay. There's other people in the world besides that town.
Yes. There will be people that's gonna like you, gonna want to be your friend.
Mhm.
Yeah, so in the library, that's when Lucas was pain that there's actually a bullet in her leg. It's not just the glass. So she needs help. They need to get her out of there.
That's just tired.
That now,
Yeah.
like I see the scene in my mind.
Yeah, she's starting to lose consciousness. Yeah.
Oh,
So then they talk about a snow day.
Yeah, trying to keep her awake,
Yeah.
like that part.
yeah.
Yeah, she's basically told him about a snow day that she had with Brooke when they were kids, wishing that she'd go back to that moment. And then that's when Payne's talking about everybody's been talking about this and trying to make sense of it, but they're not gonna be able to. And they're just gonna carry with them forever, and it's not gonna be the same. And then
Then we go back to the classroom.
well, actually, we go back to the gym because Brooke has that moment with Glenda's mom, Sheila.
Oh, was that one?
Yeah, basically, well, we can get this a little bit faster, but basically, there's this woman looking for her daughter, asks Brooke, like, have you seen Glenda? And Brooke doesn't know who that is.
Oh.
Yeah, because Brooke is popular and Glenda's not. And then Glenda told her mom that she's friends with Brooke. So she thinks, so she's going up to Brooke thinking,
That's her friend.
yeah, you know where my daughter is. And then Brooke goes, oh, I thought you said Brenda. Let me go. And then she goes outside and cries
Yeah.
because she doesn't know who she is.
Wow.
And it's like, that's her, like,
That's the
moment
reality
of,
of it.
like, you're popular. You need to kind of tone it down that this is life. You don't,
And plus, she's student president, so you think that she
She
knows her
should
peers.
know who.
And she should care
Yeah.
to know everybody. But that's Brooke.
Mhm.
But that's also a lot of popular kids.
It is. It is.
And then everybody's thinking about where they would be right now if they would start their class. And Jimmy says he's supposed to be in AP English, but he stopped going because he missed a couple of weeks and couldn't catch up. Then he explains how when he came to school, nobody talked to him that day. That was the best day he ever had, and that was depressing. So he went home and basically OD'd on his antidepressants. And then he came back a couple of weeks later, and nobody even noticed he was gone for that.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And Mouse, his face is all red from crying. And Jimmy says that's upset and not being here in the first place. Nobody misses you when you're gone. So Mal tells Jimmy's not supposed to be this way. They're supposed to get past it. And then Brooke gets back at the gym, like what we said about Glenda.
Yep.
But the sad thing too is that when Brooke does find Glenda, Glenda said she knew that her mom was there. She wanted her mom to basically kind of like miss her a little bit longer because she feels like she's taking her for granted. So that was another big thing too that was in this. Yeah.
And hide so my mom thinks I got her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, so that's when Brooke calls Karen because she, has to get out now. But then, so Keith tells Karen to go get Brooke and he'll stay here for Lucas, wait for him. He's not gonna let anything happen to their boy, that was sweet.
Yep.
But then they hug for what they did.
But you did miss a whole chunk.
What?
Lucas and Peyton. When she hit the glass.
And he put pressure on her leg?
What?
He was going to put pressure on her leg?
No, she said, because she's, because she thinks she's dying, because she is tired. And she said, if I say I love you right now, will you hold it against me? Because I've lost a lot of blood. And then she kisses him.
Oh, yeah, because he thought she was going to whisper something.
Yeah, because she said, come here.
And he's with Brooke,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
But, okay, here's the thing. With this scene, I do not hold this kiss against either one of them.
She's about to die.
No, either one of them. Brooke Payne thinks she's dying.
Mm-hmm.
She is like, are you kidding me? Like, she thinks she's dying. So I don't hold this, because again, it's going to come back to this scene right here of, he cheated. But this is not, I don't think it's a cheating kiss. She thinks she's dying. They're in a serious situation. She's bleeding out. It might be her last kiss. Like, I'm just sorry. Like, me too. Like, I'm sorry. Plus, Brooke did steal him from her to begin with. So, but again, and again, if Brooke is going to be that jealous over this one kiss in the library, then you got more problems in your relationship, and you shouldn't be with Lucas to begin with.
That's true.
You should let Payne be with him. So, again, and because people hate that he cheated, but first of all, it was out of nowhere. He was like even shocked that she kissed him.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't hold this against them. I hold the first cheating against them.
Right.
But I don't think this was cheating.
No.
And it wasn't like they're making out. It was a little kiss on the lips, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like a goodbye.
Yeah, like, if I die, this is it.
Yep.
And then when Keith and
Well, and she said she's really tired. She looked real pale. I mean,
so what? I mean, I'm sure she probably was headed.
I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm sure if Jake was there, she would have loved to kiss him.
Yep.
But he wasn't.
Yeah. And then when Keith and Karen were hugging too, you could see that Dan was watching them nearby.
Oh my God, yes, that's what I think made him.
That was
his turning point.
Oh.
Because he's been turning, but I think that was his turning point of like, you know what? I'm gonna end this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like this. You guys being all cutesy, it's over.
Yeah, and then Dan knew too that they were engaged to get married too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he was feeling all that jealousy.
Wow.
Mhm.
I hate Dan.
Yeah. So then Tudor and Nathan and Haley have that moment of, not wanting to be safe without having the other there with each other, from each other. And then, Jimmy tells Nathan he heard what he talked about, Haley time capsule. And guys like him get away with it.
This is the problem. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Because Nathan gets away with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're popular, that's what happens.
Right.
But I will say, like, when Jimmy said, like, like, your worst day would be my best.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's true. And Nathan goes, well, I mean, that might be true. I'm like, Nathan, come on now. It is true.
Mm-hmm.
You are ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Other people aren't. Oh, but then Haley sees Abby getting sick.
Yeah. But Nathan did say that with that too, it doesn't make what Jimmy's doing is right, which is also true too.
It is, but
Mm-hmm.
people shouldn't be picking on people.
Yeah.
They shouldn't, but also Jimmy didn't need to go to that extent. But it did take this to open their eyes.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's both. They have their points on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone had their, like, Brooke, it took her this to realize, like, she doesn't know everyone in her class. Like, she thinks she does. But again, she only knows her friends, and she thinks that's her class.
Yeah. Yeah, so Abby needs her insulin, but it's in her locker across the school.
So they tell Jimmy to let her go.
Yeah,
And he finally does.
Yeah. And then when she takes off too, you see Jimmy smiling too, like you think that things are going to get better at this point for him,
It's good for Abby, right?
Mm-hmm. And then they made it dramatic with her being slow-mo.
Yeah, it's all
There's somebody
slow-mo.
else that is in the hallway.
I didn't think that.
Yeah, I didn't think either. But
I thought it was her running free.
Yeah.
That was the slow-mo. That was my takeaway from the slow-mo is she's running free.
Yeah.
And then Jaycee, just in case you come back later, just remember that she left the classroom.
Okay.
Yeah. So then let's see. Then back in the library, Peyton we just see like different clips of everybody. Peyton's still losing conscious on Lucas's shoulder. Then we see Brooke hug and cry with Karen. And then that's when Lucas takes Peyton out of the library. Abby's still running the halls. And then so Jimmy has his face turned away from everybody in the classroom, but then when he looks back, Nathan's on his phone. So that's when
Oh.
it's bad again.
Well, and that's because Nathan's message is talking to Dan.
Yeah, texting Dan.
That's why Dan now knows what's happening inside
Mm-hmm.
because Nathan's telling him everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's when Keith says, "You can get me in." Yeah. So.
I just keep thinking about what Dan did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jimmy goes off again. That if he didn't have the gun, then no one would be taking him seriously or anything.
Couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But then the line of whoever steps in the hallway dies.
Mm-hmm.
Just knowing what happens.
Yeah.
Keith. It's like,
Yeah. And then when Lucas is taking Payne out the library doors, the door slams shut behind them.
Jimmy knows somebody's out there.
Yep, everybody can hear it. Yep. And then, everybody's saying that just to turn himself in, Mouse says to go with him. And Jimmy says he thinks that does have to be like this. And you can see he's like tired on his face, and Haley tries to talk to him again. And, he says that all they're going to remember him as a monster.
Well, what are they going to remember you as?
Yeah.
To all of them.
hmm And then he leaves the classroom.
Oh.
And he, eventually runs into Lucas and Peyton.
Yeah.
Lucas tries to explain he has to get her out of there.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
and the thing is, like, they used to be friends.
Yeah.
Which is really sad.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jimmy's seeing what he's done.
But, oh my God, the scene. Because Keith walks in and is talking to Jimmy.
Yeah.
Trying to keep him calm, not shoot. And protects Lucas, puts his body, thinking, he's like Nathan, thinking that bullet's not going to affect him. But and then he tells, and as Lucas is carrying Peyton, he's following to protect them, make sure that he's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And then Lucas is like, Keith, and he's like, basically, I love you, just go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
get out of here.
Yeah. And then Lucas does stand there for like a whole couple seconds. I'm like, he just said to go, dude.
Yeah.
But he's standing there like looking at Keith.
Yeah, he looks at Jimmy and Keith, what would be for the last time.
Yep.
Keith tells Jimmy to give him the gun, and they can go out with Lucas and Peyton, and this can be over. But, Jimmy says it can't be. He wants this all to be done with, and, Keith tries to keep talking about how it gets better, and he used to be there too. And he knows what he's feeling, and it'll go away.
Yeah. But then he shoots himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Dan walks up, and Keith is all like, on the ground, like, oh my God,
He's gone.
he's gone. And then Dan picks up the gun and shoots Keith.
What a freaking monster.
Yeah.
How do you kill your own brother?
No, Dan does.
See, I guess.
Yeah, because he got his girl.
Yes. Dan could have had all that.
Yes, he chose not to. Yeah. Well, even when Nathan was little, he could have very easily left Deb.
Yep.
And went to Karen.
Yep.
And at that point, Karen would have said yes.
I'm sure she would have got back with him.
Yep. So that's the whole thing. He could have had it all.
What I didn't like is that when Lucas got outside with Peyton, the SWAT team put
So they pick her up because obviously she's injured, and then they act like he's the shooter. They throw him on the ground. They put handcuffs. I'm like, that's aggressive.
The shooter wouldn't carry their victim outside
It's just like you should probably check them. That was just rude how they did it. Then I kind of felt bad for Chad because he's the actor and this getting thrown to the ground.
I was stunt double. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it looked like him.
Yeah.
I just felt bad for him. And so then he narrates, and then he says, "Does this darkness have a name?" Yeah, Dan Scott.
Oh,
because it's looking right at Dan. Yep, that's how it ends.
And then we did see Jimmy's mom there again for a second.
Yeah, because they're about to tell her what happened.
Oh, she's gonna be devastated.
But then, of course, clearly that school doesn't have cameras because they would have seen Dan in the hallway. So, and they would have seen that it was Jimmy to begin with that shot.
Right.
Like they could now. So for me, the high was like the little comedy between like Mouth and Nathan and the love, but that Nathan and Lucas had where the unspoken.
Yes.
I love them. And I loved also how Skills was like, I'm gonna beat this Marcus up. He's annoying.
Yeah, they were all doing their part to keep Jimmy calm and try to talk him, make him reason with him about how this can't be more it's not as bad as it could be.
Right.
Like he can still not get away, but walk away from this without the worst consequences.
He could have got some help.
Yeah.
Because he didn't kill anyone.
Right.
No.
Yeah, it was accidental pain. Yeah.
What was your guys's?
Can I have one if I haven't actually watched it?
Yeah. I mean, if you can remember what
you can remember anything.
Yeah. I think my high would be the courage Keith had to go inside the building.
Yeah.
Because none of the other parents did.
Yeah, and we know parents in real life who actually done that.
My low?
Yeah, Dan shooting.
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, killing Keith. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my low too. Just another high. I did like to see how Haley protected, Nathan protected Haley.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, just he didn't give up, even when Lucas tried to, stop him from going inside the school and finding her in the
Nah.
theater center.
Nah.
It still took.
Listen, I love Nathan and Haley, but like I said, if you're only going to come in here and die with me, you might take some charge.
You're not wrong.
Listen, it's Nathan Scott. We're not talking about anyone else. We're talking about Nathan Scott here. I'm just saying. He knocked out Dan. You think he can't knock out Jimmy?
Oh, he could have easily.
And then Lucas too, because when they saw the blood go into the library, Nathan said, "You don't know if it's Payne," but he said it's somebody. So either way, he was going to go in there
Yeah.
to help whoever it
Oh,
was
yeah.
too. So he definitely takes after Keith.
Yep. Keith was more his dad than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then he was going to adopt Lucas too.
I guess Nathan takes after Dan. Chicken
Oh. You're not wrong.
Dan didn't go in the building only to shoot Keith.
Yeah.
He wasn't going in there to protect him.
God, I hate Dan.
And then Nathan chickening out on protecting Haley. Wow.
He didn't leave her once he got to her. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and then standing in front of her thinking he was going to save her.
I know. Yeah.
None of this made any sense for Nathan.
And then reading?
I think it could have been a little more done, but I'm going to give it a 9.
Me too.
I was going to say an 8.
Well, you never read them high.
I don't. But an 8's pretty high.
For you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Normally you like 6s.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows my best and worst.
It might be the same, depending.
Well,
It's
and
the worst, I think.
the worst, I think we can all agree.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Dan.
No.
What? Who's your worst?
The writers.
That's not a character.
It's my character. Because listen, you didn't write Nathan to the best of your ability, and you also didn't make that scene right. Because why would they not just leave? I don't get it.
So the character.
Marcus.
Mark. Okay, that's a
No,
good
I'm
one.
just kidding. Of course, the worst is Dan.
Dan.
He truly killed somebody. I kind of was agreeing with Marcus though.
I think I might switch up my best.
Okay.
I was going to say Keith.
Who the hell? You're picking Lucas, aren't you? Your boyfriend.
I am picking
Look at that face. Look at that face.
For Karen, saving Peyton's life.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for him, she may have died.
Yeah, and then he wouldn't have his future, would he?
Maybe not.
Yeah, so my best was Keith.
Mine was Keith too, because he went in and like, where's Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a little behind the scene fact: the actor who played Jimmy, he was actually supposed to stay on the show, but he couldn't afford going back and forth from set to home. It was a 2-hour drive every time, and he was only there for like 2 or 3 times at the most a week.
Yeah.
So money wise, it wasn't worth it. So he kind of he didn't. So he basically quit the show.
Yeah.
And then so he was surprised when they brought him back for this, and then just to end it again.
Wow.
He was surprised, but yeah.
That is
I'm surprised they didn't bring Tim back to do this.
Yeah, or Tim.
Like,
Yeah,
Tim could have been a different one. Like, he could have been another one.
Because if he was in the tutor center, he'd be like Marcus, but like the opposite. He'd be scared, like probably crying and making Jimmy irritated from the noise and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And just saying stupid stuff too, or I don't know. I feel like he would have tried charging him or something. I don't know, because he's not thinking.
Well, see, at least somebody would have been a hero in there. None of them in that fake tutor center was a hero.
No.
Yeah, he probably would have tried getting
None
out
of
the
them.
window before anybody told him it was a courtyard, and then making all that noise. I can imagine so many things happening with him.
And seriously, Nathan not taking charge.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah.
It's unheard of.
The Nathan Scott that we've seen all along. This tough kid, this tough badass. Where is he?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't there that day. Don't tell me he's invincible.
Scared of guns.
Yeah, he's just simply all talk,
He's scared.
just all talk and no show, like no,
Yep.
like all bark and no bite, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucas. is the biter.
Mm-hmm.
My man Lucas.
But Nathan will punch for Haley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone's got a gun pointing it at her. Nathan can't take charge. You see my point
Yeah, I do.
in this? You see my point?
I'm disagreeing.
Listen, you want a man.
Did I disagree?
No, listen, do you want a man? Look at their face. Do you want a man? You were talking about how, you want Nathan to come protect you, but yet he's not. Like, he chickened out on
I
me.
knew we already did that.
So bad.
Maybe too, Nathan's thought that if he ended up getting shot, then he could have protected Haley after that.
Oh, that's true. That's
Maybe
a good.
helped her live for some minutes longer, but that would have been it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next episode?
Episode 18, when it isn't like it should be, which is. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a sad one.
Yeah, so-
I mean, this was sad,
Yeah.
but that one is
Dealing with
worse
the
because it's
aftermath.
all the aftermath of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like Karen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably the worst I've seen. We've seen Karen act towards Lucas.
Next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is, if I'm thinking right. I haven't seen. I haven't
Well, she
rewatched
just
it yet.
lost the love of her life.
Yeah, but if you rewatch it, then you at least because like when I was younger, I didn't like it, but as I got older, I got more and more mad at her the way she reacted.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Well, because it's not his fault
yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
that Keith went in there. I mean, that's just who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way she treats Dan, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yep, and thank you, Jaycee, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would appreciate it.